ready to go. And that's really the goal, is to make this as easy as possible while maintaining all the safety standards that are essential, to the ballpark operator.
Fanfest.
There's
Marty Lurie talking about how it's going to be at the park once we could let fans in. This is Giants Baseball Corner. I'm MTK on the MIC. Oh, wait, there is no MIC. Gonna have to redo this for MIC.
When they arrive, and so that screening is part of that process. And quite frankly, I think the other thing that I'll emphasize is that in San Francisco and in the Bay Area, I think we've done a really good job over the last few months of getting our community back to a point of good health. And we've got to keep that going. And with the vaccination efforts ramping up, I think that's another good sign. But there is a level of community responsibility that we all have. And I certainly hope that as we move forward over the next few weeks, we continue to see improvement so that we'll be in the best possible position, come April, to be able to host fans.
Well, I hope so. Mario, Alfie, terrific having you guys on. And I look forward to having you on as we go through spring training on the pre-games that'll start, of course, next week, next Sunday. But I appreciate you being on. I'm looking forward to my second vaccination on Monday. So please, everyone, think about that. Guys, terrific having you on, and I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, Marty.
Thanks, Marty.
Oh, anytime. Kerry, I know you've got a message for the fans, too.
I do. Well, a big day on KNBR, Marty, and we'll kick it off right now. Our first FanFest Flyway qualifier is Terry Kuhn from Cotati. Terry has 6 minutes, 80 seconds to call 415-478-KNBR. That's 415-478-KNBR to hit the road on September 21st for a 3-game series at Petco Park against the Padres. Airfare provided by Alaska Airlines. Good luck to Terry.
Well, I hope so. I hope it's a good season, and I hope everything works out well. So every day we'll find out. All right, more coming up. This is our 2021 FanFest presented by Dignity Health. More coming up on KNBR 680, 104.5, the sports leader.
Well, there you go. So it's going to be FanFest
KNBR's 2021 Giants FanFest going on now till 5 p.m. on your exclusive home of the Orange and Black. KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
Want the real dirt on your home's concrete problems? Shift happens. You may think that your driveway and patio.
All right, so we're going to be listening to the broadcast here. They're live. They're not going to have a game today after all. I thought we were going to have a game to listen to, but we're not going to have that. So, FanFest. It's FanFest. Will there be a Giants baseball corner in 2021, I guess is what we're talking about here. And, yeah, why not? I'm kind of excited. I think the moves that Kapler and Zaidi made in concert reflect a radical shift from the way I've thought about us as a team, but I like it. And they are loaded mathematically. And if the shifting and moving of pieces, the way that Kapler was doing it, as we got to see in the irregular season, that's what we call 2020. The irregular season is to be taken as, something to extrapolate, and we can have, if COVID allows us to have, if our reactions are capable of having a season, then I like what they're doing. I think it could upend the battle between the Bums and the Padres, who paid all that money to.
Nicotine is an addictive chemical. New Velomax nicotine pouches have arrived. You've got flavors.
As for nicotine in baseball, Eric, I hope you quit your dip. Killed Tony Gwynn, I have my Tony Gwynn baseball card here at the house now. Should I bust that thing out for FanFest? All right, so if that's to be believed, I think the San Francisco Giants could, toy with the Bums and Padres, notwithstanding the absurd amount of money they've paid Fernando Tatis. So FanFest today is happening, but they're not going to have a game. So I guess they'll have interviews all day long. That was pretty cool. They talked about the bobbleheads. They talked about just now that, with COVID protocols, things being up in the air so much, they didn't know what they were going to do. But what's a big one for them in terms of a promotional moment? or a special moment for Giants fans is the retiring of Will Clark's number. So Will Clark's number will be retired, and they'll do, we have the wall of fame there. I think he's already on the wall, but they're going to retire the number, so it'll go in the ring or in the stands there. And so he was saying, with all this stuff up in the air, 2022 would be a better time anyway. It's kind of synchronous. So probably the Will Clark number retiring will happen in 2022. And that'll be the next big one, is the way they're looking at it in the office. So that was cool to hear about. And it's FanFest. So there's ads, and in between I might, do this. I was going to put the mic on, because right now this is happening with just the internal mic on that thing. So I don't know whether it's loud enough or not, but I'm going to just continue. The San Francisco Giants did pick up a pretty interesting little group of players in the winter. And if you have not been following it, there are not what I would say, big names there. This was not splashy signings. This was not the people were bantering about. This was people after the signing you'd go and look up and go, oh, that makes sense. This was calculated, sabermetrics oriented, designed play, sort of players selection to fit a scheme that I think the Giants are going to be going into. They put out a tweet the other day, and I was just going to use that as my lead here. You'll have to give me a second. I'm not prepared for FanFest, but this is FanFest on Giants Baseball Corner, where we will be back. We're at gbcorner.wordpress. I'll have to dust off the blog there. But I am MTK. This is Giants Baseball Corner. We're listening to KNBR.
This is KNBR's 2021 Giants Fan Fest, sponsored by Dignity Health, the official healthcare provider of the San Francisco Giants, and by Foundation Repair of California. Shift happens. Now to prepare you for the season ahead, here are your FanFest hosts, Marty, Lurie, and Kerry Crowley on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
Morning, Marty.
All right, nice to be back with you. By the way, Mario explained this. I'll say it again. It's very important. Giants 2021 season vouchers are available now for as low as $25. Vouchers are flexible as they can be used toward tickets to most regular season games in 2021. There's a limited time offer. It's only valid this week, so head to this weekend. So head to sanfranciscogiants.com/tickets to secure your seats today. So I think it's valid this week only. So absolutely check it out. But joining us now, I've got a list of about 30 questions. I know Kerry does too, and that is Scott Harris, the general manager of the San Francisco Giants. Scott, how are you?
Hey, Kerry and Marty. Thanks for having me on. Great talking with you guys.
We love having you on, and I'm going to give you an easy one first. And you got into baseball at a young age. Why baseball, and how did that happen to get you in?
Well, the easy answer to why baseball is I was just a huge fan growing up. I loved going to the Stick to watch the Giants play. I loved consuming as much baseball as possible on TV, and I was always just very intrigued by the game within the game. When you're watching these guys play at such a high level, I love the cat and mouse game between the pitcher and the hitter, and I love the in-game strategy that the manager was always mindful of as he was giving signs out to the runners and making sure that he was always a step ahead of the opposing manager. So just really fell in love with it at a young age, and I'm very fortunate to be able to work in it full time now.
Sounds like a young man.
Well, Scott, if Marty's the softball guy, I'm the spin rate guy. Here comes the big time questions. I want to start with your biggest offseason acquisition, and that's Tommy LaStella. It kind of went against the grain or the industry trend of giving a longer term contract to someone in his 30s. What made you guys comfortable giving 3 years to Tommy LaStella and a guy who will predictably be in your infield for the next few seasons?
Yeah, first of all, I just talked to Tommy on the field, and he showed up in excellent shape, and it was great to reconnect with him. As many of you know, I spent many years with him in Chicago, and I was just always very impressed by his aptitude and contact skills. He brings a very sophisticated, competitive approach to every at bat. He knows himself as well as any hitter I've ever been around. And he has some sneaky pop. And I'm just really looking forward to watching him not only perform and compete for every pitch in the box, but also to teach our young hitters how to become an incredibly tough out at the major league level. I think he has mastered that over the years. And he's always been open-minded to continue to adapt to the way the game is going. And so, we just had really high confidence in the approach and the human, and it was a pretty easy decision to give him a multi-year deal and bring him to San Francisco. And first on his plays, trying to figure out where to live. That's what we were talking about today out on the field. And fortunately, in the Bay Area, you got a ton of great options. So he's really excited to jump in and be a Giant
LaStella.
Scott Harris, the general manager of the Giants, joins us. Scott, let me follow up on that one before I ask you my next question. That is, where do you see him hitting in the lineup?
Well, that's an easy question because I can just deflect to Cap. Cap has one of my favorite traits about Cap is when we're talking about acquiring a hitter, especially in the offseason, we will often text each other about the qualities that we value in each hitter. And before we even get through our evaluation of the hitter, Cap has already sent us a lineup and exactly where he would hit them against right-handed pitching and left-handed pitching. And so he sent a bunch of lineups with Tommy in it. I think fortunately with Tommy's skill set, he can hit anywhere in the lineup. I think he fits pretty well up towards the top of the lineup because, I think he's going to be on base a ton this year. But I'll leave the specific answer to that question to Cap when you guys have him on.
No, I agree with you on that. Well, I wrote down 29 non-roster pitchers, and all of a sudden I'm looking on trade rumors, and Susan Slesser, the Chronicle, has got you signing Shun Yamaguchi, 33-year-old right-hander that was with Toronto last year.
That happened last night.
Is that the latest one?
Unfortunately, I can't talk about any player that we've signed who hasn't completed his physical yet. So I'm going to decline to answer that.
Okay.
Give you a break.
Unfortunately, I apologize with that.
That's all right. We'll read about it on the internet. But it puts you up to allegedly 30. So why so many non-roster pitchers? I mean, your minor leagues has some pitchers. You've got some veterans in the stars. What are you going to do with 29 non-roster pitchers?
Yeah, I will tell you that we have spent countless hours thinking about how to approach the 2021 season. I think we find ourselves in uncharted territory right now because we've never really had a season in which, so many pitchers are coming off of years in which they pitch fewer innings than they're accustomed to. So I don't think we fully understand the impact of the reduced innings totals of the 2020 season on the 2021 season yet. So one priority for us this winter was to build as much depth and upside in our pitching staff as possible, to bring as many guys that we like as possible to camp, because we know that we're going to need all of them. We're going to need as many guys as possible. If one of our pitchers gets nicked up or if there's a decline in the quality of their stuff, we want to make sure that we are in a position to give that pitcher, an extra day between starts or a blow when he needs it, to make sure that they can endure the full grind of the 162 game season.
Scott, another thing guys have never dealt with, and Major League Baseball has never dealt with, is the cancellation of a full minor league season. And so you were able to get some of your top prospects work at the alternate site in an instructional league in Arizona last year, but a number of the really young, exciting, entertaining, and promising prospects in your system are in Major League camp this spring. And I'm curious, what kind of a look do you expect to give some of the upper minors guys like Elliot ramos and Sean Jelly during these Cactus League games?
Yeah, first and foremost, the cancellation of the minor league season last year was a really tough blow to a bunch of our young players who embody the future of this organization. You know, we really value the reps that they get in the minor league level to affect their development moving forward. And it's a shame that they weren't able to complete that development in 2020. So one of the things that we've been trying to do is give them as much opportunity as possible to make up for those reps, whether it's at the alternate site in 2020 or Instructs in 2020 or now here in big league camp. So it's really important for us to bring them here for the development reps, but also to get them around guys like Buster, get them around guys like Craw and Belt and Cueto and some of the veterans here that we know can teach them valuable lessons that will help them assimilate to the big leagues quickly. We're going to definitely get them into in-game action, allow them to compete against big leaguers from other organizations. But we also value the opportunity to work with our big league coaches. We know that once opening day hits, our big league coaches will be singularly focused on our major league team and won't have the opportunity to work with some of our young players. So getting a guy like Will Wilson in camp and giving him the ability to work with the hitting group is really important. Ramos and Jelly, as you mentioned, we know that they can learn a lot from our major league coaches and from Cap. And so trying to get them attached to our major league players and coaches' hips is a huge priority for us this spring.
Scott, last year you didn't have any real games. Of course, you had the alternate site, and the minor league season, as Kerry said, was canceled. So what do you look for in a pitcher? Because when I look on, on the signings for you guys, it's always his walk rate is this, his strikeout rate is this, his spin rate is this. Because you signed a ton of guys who really didn't play last year or are coming back from injuries. So what are the criteria that you look for?
That's Marty Lurie.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit on one of them. Strike throwing is a huge priority for us when we evaluate pitchers. We want to make sure that they can command the baseball where they intend to command it, and also that they can miss bats in the zone. And I think those are two qualities that many of the pitchers that we brought into camp this year have. Also, I will say that one theme in this organization that really energizes me is that we are focusing on major league development and adjustments when a player enters this organization. You know, when you look at a player and you value him, the easiest way to project his future performance is just to flip over the baseball card, look at what he did last year and the year before, and project some variant of that performance moving forward. But I think when you evaluate a player and you evaluate a possible adjustment that he can make moving forward, all of a sudden that player becomes less bound by his past performance track record. And all of a sudden, perhaps his ceiling increases, or perhaps there are new possibilities of what he can do. So, for example, if a hitter comes in and we complete a swing change with that hitter, or if a pitcher comes in and we add a new pitch to him, or even if a hitter just develops a more discerning eye on our watch, then all of a sudden we feel like that player can achieve new heights in this organization. And if you are focused on that across your roster and you can find meaningful gains on the margins, then all of a sudden you have players that are achieving new heights. You have a team that might have been written off early in the season who's suddenly competing for a playoff berth like we did last year. And you have a culture around here where everyone's striving to get better on the margins, which will, translate to wins on the field. So I think that's a really important thing for us, and it certainly affects the way we evaluate pitchers and who we decide to bring in here.
Talking with San Francisco Giants general manager Scott Harris here on KNBR during FanFest. And Scott, I think one of the themes of your first camp with the Giants when you were the general manager last year was all of the open competitions and open jobs that you had on the field, especially on the position player side, and platoons were kind of taking over the lineup. And this spring, it feels like there's a lot more steadiness to the group. And the one position where you may not have that stability is center field. So who are you keeping your eye on in center field? What's your hope for this spring in terms of seeing a competition unfold or seeing a player win a job out there?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. First and foremost, when you talk about center field, I think we have to credit Mauricio Dubon for the seamless transition he made to center field last year. I mean, he opened a lot of eyes out there. I think he, has excellent baseball instincts out there. He tracks balls really well. He gets great jumps. And so I think, you're going to see a lot of Mauricio Dubon in center field. I think Yaz also, Analytically, it doesn't appear that he made strides in center field last year, but we think he did. We really like the work that he's putting in center field, and we believe that he can be a center fielder for us if Cap wants to deploy a lineup that forces him to play center field. Lamont Wade is another guy that we brought in from the Twins that we think probably fits better in a corner, but we think he can play center field also, and certainly Jalen Davis. So I think we have a lot of options out there. I think, as you alluded to in your question, we're going to try to put out the best lineup we can every day, try to find the optimal matchups with every starting pitcher that we face. And so I think as a result of prioritizing our offense and our lineup, you're going to see a few different guys out there in center field this year.
Scott, as we let you go here, it's a good question. It's the closer. Last year, you really didn't have a closer, and we went through that 10-day period of just torture with the home runs at the end. This year, you have Jake McGee. And Tampa, pretty good. Colorado, disaster. Dodgers, excellent. Can he be the closer for you? Are you more inclined to go with one guy this year as opposed to tryouts of 6 or 7?
Yeah, I should note that one of the hitters responsible for that torture last year was Tommy LaStella, who walked us off in Anaheim.
Oh, that's a good point.
So I still stewing over that loss. But I think, from a front office perspective, we just tried to bring in as many quality arms as possible. Two guys that stick out to me that we hope will become fixtures at the end of our pen are Jake McGee and Reyes Maranta, who's coming back from injury this year. We think that those two can help stabilize the back end of our pen. As far as anointing a closer to take the ball every day at the end of the game, I'm going to leave that to Cap and to his pitching group to decide whether they want a full-time closer or if they want to match up at the end of games. But I think we feel a lot better about our staff and the ability we have to anoint a closer if we want to, or to continue to match up late in games. I think it'll be Cap's call at the end of spring.
All right, great to have you. I appreciate you. Like with Mario and Alfie, we could keep you here for another hour asking you questions. So enjoy yourself. And as I say, we'd love to have you on the pregame as we go through spring training. So, Scott, thanks again.
Thanks, guys. Looking forward to seeing you in person sometime.
Yeah, really? Okay. Kerry, interesting questions. Before we throw it to you here for just a message. 29 non-roster pitchers. They've got another one in the works
Possibly
here.
30, right?
Incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the Sacramento River Cats bullpen is going to be absolutely loaded this spring. Really? There's no question in my mind.
Oh, boy. All right. More information, Kerry, and then we're going to take a break and look forward to Farhan coming up next. So go ahead.
Yes, sir. The 2021 KNBR Giants FanFest sale is going on now at sfgiants.com/FanFest sale. You can browse unique and one-of-a-kind items from your favorite Giants, whether you're looking for Buster Posey's catching gear or an autographed baseball from Mike Yastrzemski. You'll find all of your game-used memorabilia needs at this year's best pricing. Now through Sunday only, every purchase helps support the Giants Community Fund, Marty.
All right. Terrific. And as I said, those vouchers are really available at sfgiants.com/tickets, and only this week only, but absolutely check it out. All right, more coming up. We look forward to this next guest, Farhan Zaidi, President of Baseball Operations, and we'll be back with him right after this on 104.5, 680 KNBR, the sports leader.
This is KNBR's 2021 Giants Fan Fest, bringing you conversations with your favorite members of the Orange and Black, now till 5 p.m. on your exclusive home of Giants baseball, KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
Want the real dirt on your home's concrete problems? Shift happens. You may think that your driveway and patio sits on solid ground, but it might not be that solid. Rain washes away soil. Drought can cause it to shrink. So when it comes to cracked, sunken concrete, it's really all about the dirt. Foundation Repair of California can protect your home and help restore the integrity of your property. Visit foundationrepairofca.com today to schedule your free estimate. That's foundationrepairofca.com. Shift happens. Don't let a little dirt ruin the biggest investment of your life.
We make USAA insurance for members like Martin, a veteran made of conviction. He believes if you're going to do something, you should do it right, like measuring twice and cutting once. So when a hailstorm hit his house and his car, USAA reached out to him before he could even inspect the damage. Martin said, "That's how you do it right." His roof and car were fixed up before his neighbor could even get started. USAA Insurance has made the way members like Martin and his family need it, with hassle-free claim service to help get you back to normal fast. Save more when you bundle home and auto. Get a quote today at usaa.com/insurance. USAA, what you're made of, we're made for. Ability to receive a quote depends on membership eligibility. Product, membership eligibility, and bundling savings restrictions apply and are subject to change. United Services Automobile Association and its affiliates, San Antonio, Texas.
T-Mobile is now the leader in 5G coverage and speed. So to celebrate, we're bringing out our best deal. Right now, get the iPhone 12 on us on each and every plan with eligible iPhone trade-in.
Cool. So I can FaceTime with my sister in Savannah.
With the iPhone 12 on us, you can unleash the fastest 5G speeds in more places.
And my bestie in Boise and grandma in Miami.
Connect near and far with an iPhone for the whole family on America's largest and fastest 5G network. Switch now and save 20% in your plan versus the other guys. And that's not an introductory rate. That's the best value in wireless. That's right. Get the iPhone 12 on us and save 20% every month. All on the leader in 5G, T-Mobile.
Phone via 24-bill credits plus tax. If you cancel credit, stop and balance on required finance agreement may be due. Contact us. Qualifying credit and consumer plan required. 5G network is largest and awarded fastest by Open Signal Awards based on average speeds and USA 5G User Experience Report January 2021. Details at T-Mobile.com.
An experienced staff accountant is sought by Singer Luwick LLP in San Jose, California to prepare payroll tax, sales, or other local tax and certain personal income tax returns. Requirements are a bachelor's degree or foreign equivalent in accounting, finance, business administration, or related academic field, plus 2 years of experience. Applicants please mail resumes to Anna Coleman, Director of Human Resources at 10960 Wilshire Boulevard, Suite 700, Los Angeles, California 90024, and reference number ESAST21.
I've been an intensive care unit nurse for more than 20 years, and I've not seen anything like this virus. This virus is real. This virus is deadly. I've never expected I had to say goodbye to patients on behalf of their families. The little things, the things you'd say to comfort your child or your wife, they don't get to say those things. I have to.
Stay safe. Brought to you by the Center at Sierra Health Foundation.
If I'm not commuting anymore, where do I really want to live?
While you handle life's questions, Merrill Guided Investing helps you manage your portfolio and invest for your next move with the option to work with an advisor at a low cost and minimum. Merrill, a Bank of America company. Visit merrilledge.com/investing goals to get started today.
Investing involves risk. Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner & Smith Incorporated, both a registered broker-dealer and investment advisor, member SIPC. Investment products are not FDIC insured or not bank guaranteed and may lose value.
It's Mattress Firm's President's Day sale. Right now, get a king bed for the price of a queen or a queen for the price of a twin. Plus, get a free adjustable base when you spend $6.99 on Sealy. Or save up to $500 on Tempur-Pedic adjustable mattress sets. And you can save 50% on select Sealy Queen mattresses. Now just $299.99. Shop Tempur-Pedic, Stearns & Foster, and more with our sleep experts. Only at Mattress Firm. Offer valid with qualifying purchase. Restrictions apply. Valid at participating locations only. For offer details, visit mattressfirm.com/sale.
The first Cactus League game for the Orange and Black is next Sunday. Time to warm up with the leader. KNBR's 2021 Giants Fan Fest continues. Sponsored by Dignity Health, the official healthcare provider of the San Francisco Giants. And by Foundation Repair of California. Shift happens. We're live now till 5 p.m. with your favorite players, coaches, and the club's top brass. Now back to your Fan Fest hosts, Marty, Lurie, and Kerry Crowley on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
All right, nice to have you back with us as we go into FanFest here 2021. And I just want to clarify our offer on the vouchers. That offer is open till Monday night at midnight, Monday night, 11:59 p.m. So absolutely head over to sfgiants.com/tickets to secure your seats today. Well, he is the president of baseball operations. I've known him a while. And that is Farhan Zaidi. Farhan, how are you today?
Hey, doing great, Marty. Good to talk to you as always.
Yeah, it's been a number of years, so I'm glad to chat with you again. And you're more at the top of the organization. So the things are on my mind. One, can we expect expanded playoffs this year and possibly a DH, or are these things in your mind somewhat off the table?
I think those conversations are going to continue. I'm obviously not on the front lines of them, but these are topics where you would think there'd be some mutual benefit, for the Players Association and for the league. So hopefully, those items can be figured out. Right now, we're planning to not have those on the table, but there's still time before the season starts.
Hey, Farhan, before I get to my beat writer questions that I know you love to answer, we've got our Ask a Giant Anything contest going on right now. So a reminder to listeners that you can get involved with FanFest, have your question read live on air by heading to knbr.com/NorCal Honda to enter your question. And our NorCal Honda Ask a Giant Anything question here on Talkin' Baseball comes from Cynthia in Walnut Creek. And she asks you, how does the potential lack of fans at the ballpark in 2021 affect your business operations and, most importantly, player signings in the offseason?
Yeah, as we've talked about, we're dealing in an environment of economic uncertainty, and it's made the long-term planning that we've had as a priority for the organization even more important. Now, there's a lot of reasons for optimism. With the case rates around the country going down, the vaccine. And so we're certainly hoping that fans enter the equation at some point, maybe even relatively early in the season. But it has been important for us to kind of factor that in operationally. Obviously, with the protocols, there's a lot that the stadium operations people have to take care of. In some ways, it actually makes it easier on the baseball side because there's just more room in the ballpark for us to A, spread out, and B, do as many activities as we can outdoors. But, we would still love to have fans. I mean, that would be a small price to pay, giving up some of those open areas to have our fans back in the park. So hopefully that happens pretty soon.
We get to warm you up here. You're going to be with Greg Papa and John Lund after us. So we get to work you over first here. So, all right. Spring training, where I am, and of course we're looking forward to the game starting next week. We understand it could be a 5-inning game, a 7-inning game. Pitchers can re-enter. Defensive manager can stop an inning after 20 pitches. Who determines all that stuff? How is all this going to work?
Yeah, the game lengths are going to have to be mutually agreed upon between the two managers, and I would anticipate certainly our team playing, that kind of maximum of 7 innings, for the first couple of weeks of games, just knowing we've got a lot of pitchers at camp and we want to see them. Now, if you have, an injury or, a quarantine situation, I mean, that's the reality of the world we're living in right now, and you're short on pitching. Maybe that calls for a game getting shortened a little bit, but we don't anticipate that happening at all. But it's just going to require coordination between the teams. Obviously, as we did last year, with a shortened training camp, pitcher and player health is of the utmost importance. So this is where you see some of the rules around being able to shorten innings. The players, the managers, everybody wants to get into the competitive spirit of games, but certainly don't want to do it at the health expense of one of our players. So, just some additional measures in there for that.
Yeah, just to be clear, so the first couple of weeks, there'll be 7-inning games. Is that your point?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. All right. Very good. Just wondering how that was going to happen. Go ahead, Kerry.
Well, we're talking with Giants president of baseball operations, Farhan Zaidi. And Farhan, you've said openly that your goal is to make the playoffs this season after 2 seasons where kind of disappointing records. But the projections publicly that have been made all have you guys somewhere between 74 and 78 wins. So I'm wondering what gives you the confidence that the Giants will be able to exceed those totals and what might be the most challenging division in baseball?
Yeah, I mean, it is important to maintain some objectivity, Kerry, because frankly, I think every team in baseball, or almost every team in baseball, probably looks at their projections and feels like they're better than what the projections would suggest. So it's important to keep that in mind. I guess I would answer the question in a different way, which is, what path do we see to exceed the expectations and the projections that these systems have in place? And I would say a couple of things. One is, when you look at our position player side, we had a lot of guys have career years or above average years last season. And most projections are just going to, see a little bit of regression, they're going to be skeptical that a player can repeat, a season best production or even an above average production from the previous year. We're betting on our hitting infrastructure with our coaching group, being able to sustain those gains, with all the work that our players have put in and the culture that we've built in. So that's an area where I can see us exceeding expectations. And then you go to the pitching side and, as far as the rotation goes, guys like Alex Wood, Anthony Desclafani, they might not light up the projection systems because of the seasons that they had last year between injuries and maybe not being at their best effectiveness. But we're kind of looking at those guys less from a projection model and more from, a model of what they've done at their peak and feeling like, again, the infrastructure we can provide on the pitching side can help them get to that level. So that's where we think there's upside beyond the projections, that are in the range that you mentioned.
Farhan Zaidi is with us. Joey Bart, we get a lot of questions about Joey Bart. So my question to you is, what is his role right now in the organization? You signed your first pick last year, Patrick Bailey out of North Carolina State, I believe. Excellent defensive catcher. Joey struggled. We all saw it. We watched the games, struggled catching Cueto and had a lot of trouble with an off-speed pitch, hitting it. But he's still the number 2 pick in the country. So where is he at? What do you expect from him this year?
Yeah, I would say his role is future starting catcher. I mean, he's not the starting catcher right now, obviously, with Buster back. But nothing that happened last year, I think, deters our enthusiasm for the player that we think Joey is becoming, the progress that we've seen already and the progress that we think he's going to continue to make. But, that's the key part of that sentence is progress he's going to continue to make. We go back to last year, we talked about it a lot, the difficulty of developing at the alternate site environment, although we have players who did develop there, but a player of his caliber who was dominating the competition, it seemed best for his development and frankly best for the team given, some of the production issues we had at the catching spot to bring him up and see what he could do. He did some things really well. He, as you mentioned, had some struggles, but, his sort of status and role in the organization as our catcher of the future hasn't changed. And he's been very accountable. And I think he understands the roadmap to him, still having a very long and solid career as a Giant. He understands that very well, and he knows what he has to do.
Okay.
Hey, Farhan, I think one of the big storylines from the 2020 season was the Giants' offense ability to hit inside Oracle Park. You guys really transformed the offense at home last season. And, of course, the fences came in the outfield, but the archways were also closed under the right field arcade. Have you guys had any discussions about keeping those archways closed off to the wind this offseason? And do you have any permanent plans in place?
Yeah, there hasn't been a final decision made on that. Obviously, the dynamic will change as the world and sporting venues open up and we have more access to fans. So that remains an open question. But to your point, Kerry, the archways was, one of the many theories out there on what the ballpark played more favorably. So I think it's probably just one component of it. I don't think, the environment is going to swing entirely one way or another based on that. I think the dimensions of the park, the fact that we had a warm summer and that we basically played during the summer rather than in the earlier part of the year, which is a little bit cooler. The ball certainly carried well. That was a function of a bunch of things. And again, I think you've got to give credit to our players who swung the bats really well and, kind of turned Oracle into a little bit of a home field advantage for our hitters, which, is not something that we've been able to say in the past.
Well, it's not the launching pad, but I want to tell you, it was pretty close. The ball was flying out of there. But this year they've changed the baseball, and they're telling us even before the season, this has been going on for 100 years with the baseball. And I'm interested in the discussions that went on. Why change the baseball? I mean, you're president of the organization. You had to be part of these discussions with MLB. Why do that now? Fans love runs. They love home runs. Why change the ball?
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of a misconception of, the intent of the change in the ball. There's been a lot of talk about, quote unquote, deadening the ball. And the real intent is they altered the production process in a way that we should see less range from ball to ball. You know, as things stand right now, you may have, you know, two balls that are within the specification ranges that could travel, you know, a difference of 25 or 30 feet on a long fly ball. And the goal is to kind of just narrow that band, you know, so we don't see so much variation from ball to ball. I think that's something we all want. Now, part of that is that there is a very, very, very mild deadening effect to the ball. But again, considering the entire range of ball flight on long fly balls is plus or minus 25, 30 feet, the average reduction in ball flight with this manufacturing change is only going to be about 1 to 2 feet, at least according to the studies that were undertaken. So, you know, it's really more about ball consistency than ball deadening. So, as with all of these things, we'll have to see how it plays out. We said this about Oracle last year with the dimension changes, and sometimes things can go in unanticipated ways. But I think just having more consistency with the balls is something that's good for everybody, and the intent is certainly not to deaden the ball.
Look, it's a pleasure having you on. I look forward to chatting with you during spring training and on the pregame. So good luck to you, and don't go anywhere. We just warmed you up for Papa and Lund. So
all right, no, it was a good warm-up. Thanks, guys.
All right, Farhan, thank you. Kerry, your last thoughts as we say goodbye?
Well, the mosaic has officially been put into action, Marty.
It
We're
certainly
finally
has.
here, and we have a whole season to look forward to it. And our next broadcast is next Sunday. The Giants open up their Cactus League schedule against the Angels, and you and I will be on the air.
10 a.m. Next Sunday, Pacific time. That's right, February 28th. Well, appreciate everyone being with us today. More coming up on the Giants Fanfest. Pop and Lund coming up next. Mike Kohler, Raph, and everyone, thanks for putting it together. And it's baseball, and we are back, and there's nothing better than that. Have a good day, everybody. This is KNBR 680 1045, the sports leader.
Listening to KNBR's 2021 Giants Fan Fest, going on now till 5 p.m. on your exclusive home of the Orange and Black, KNBR 1045 and 6E, the sports leader.
Titus and Tate, a podcast from two obsessed basketball lovers.
Praising LeBron as the GOAT is an attack on Michael Jordan. Yes. Praising Brady as the GOAT is not an attack on anybody. So people are more willing to do it. Your childhood is not at stake by admitting that this guy's the greatest ever.
But as I've always said the entire time, LeBron James is self-proclaimed the king. Why can't we just say he's the king?
He's the king. Kobe's the Mamba.
Yeah, like why can't we just give everybody their own thing, you know?
Titus and Tate. Listen on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your shows.
Want the real dirt on your home's concrete problems? Shift happens. You may think that your driveway and patio sits on solid ground, but it might not be that solid. Rain washes away soil. Drought can cause it to shrink. So when it comes to cracked, sunken concrete, it's really all about the dirt. Foundation Repair of California can protect your home and help restore the integrity of your property. Visit foundationrepairofca.com today to schedule your free estimate. That's foundationrepairofca.com. Shift happens. Don't let a little dirt ruin the biggest investment of your life.
Are you curious about who offers the best deals on top-rated Samsung, LG, and Sony TVs? The answer is surprising. It's not online, and it's not the warehouse clubs. The best deals on top-rated TVs are at Video Only. Don't believe it? Then check out the trade-in deals at Video Only. How about $500 for your old TV? Try doing that online. Before you buy that new TV, drop into Video Only. If you don't, you'll be sorry.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. New VeloMax nicotine pouches have arrived. You've got flavors with 5 new options, including wintergreen and cinnamon. You've got strengths with 2, 4, and the new 7 milligram strength. You've got freedom. They're tobacco leaf free, so you can enjoy them virtually anywhere. More flavors, more strengths, more freedom. You've got VeloMax. Available at a convenience store near you or visit Velo.com. Nicotine products. Underage sale prohibited. Website restricted to age 21 plus nicotine consumers.
T-Mobile is now the leader in 5G coverage and speed. So to celebrate, we're bringing out our best deal. Right now, get the iPhone 12 on us on each and every plan with eligible iPhone trade-in.
Cool. So I can FaceTime with my sister in Savannah.
With the iPhone 12 on us, you can unleash the fastest 5G speeds in more places.
And my bestie in Boise and grandma in Miami.
Connect near and far with an iPhone for the whole family on America's largest and fastest 5G network. Switch now and save 20% in your plan versus the other guys. And that's not an introductory rate. That's the best value in wireless. That's right. Get the iPhone 12 on us and save 20% every month. All on the leader in 5G, T-Mobile.
Phone via 24 bill credits plus tax. If you cancel credit, stop and balance on required finance agreement may be due. Contact us. Qualifying credit and consumer plan required. 5G network is largest and awarded fastest by Open Signal Awards based on average speeds in USA 5G Your Experience Report January 2021. Details at T-Mobile.com.
Since 1929, couples have been coming to Shane Company to get their dream engagement rings and wedding bands. When my grandfather founded the company, he pioneered a unique way of doing business, directly sourcing our stones around the world in person. We hand select the prettiest stones from ethical sources worldwide. This allows us to cut out all middlemen and their markups and pass those savings on to you. Unlike other jewelers, we pay cash up front. That's why we get first pick of their best stones and the best prices. Shane Company has grown to become the Bay Area's favorite family jeweler. Because of our direct sourcing, you'll always get the best value and the most beautiful natural diamonds, rubies, and sapphires. Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and ShaneCo.com.
These days, you work at home, school at home, just about everything at home. And thanks to Cremo Company's barber grade products, you can get the barber grade experience at home too. Relieve beard itch and style and soften coarse facial hair with Cremo beard care products. Fight razor burn with Cremo shave cream. And get the style you want with Cremo's shampoos and styling pomades, pastes, and creams. Create your own Cremo barber grade experience at home today. Upgrade to barber grade at major retailers, Amazon, and CremoCompany.com.
For the ones who know safety isn't a catchphrase, it's a culture. And the ones who help make sure everyone makes it home safe. For the safety-minded who watch everyone's backs, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as safety assessments and training to keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Mike Kruko speaks your language every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday with Murph&Mac at 7:35 on KNBR and KNBR FM San Francisco. The men in orange and black are back in Scottsdale for a full sprint of Cactus League ball awaits with a hint of normalcy in the air. That's right, Seamheads. Baseball season has officially arrived. Welcome to KNBR's 2021 Giants Fan Fest, sponsored by Dignity Health, the official healthcare provider of the San Francisco Giants, and by your Northern California Honda dealers. To set up a safe, easy way to get your family a Honda, ask any Honda dealer at NorCalHondaDealers.com. Way back there! Now until 5 p.m., we're bringing you in-depth diamond discussions with your favorite players, coaches, and Giants top brass. Now welcome in your FanFest hosts, Papa and Lund, on your exclusive home of... You ain't gonna miss. You got him. San Francisco Giants baseball. KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
We love FanFest. Great to have FanFest back. We were doing FanFest all week long, but today we've got special treats for you. Farhan Zaidi, who was just on at the end with Marty and Kerry, is going to continue with us. Evan Longoria is going to join us about 11:20, and Buster Posey, yes, he is back. He's going to join us at 11:40, but let's not leave Farhan waiting, the president of baseball operations. Your conversation continues, and I listened, Farhan, into what the guys asked you, so I feel like it's Family Feud. And you know how the second person comes out, and if they ask you the same thing, then they go, So we'll try to not be redundant in our questions, okay?
He's got nothing but good answers.
I'll have my buzzer ready.
Yeah, because I did. I was like, I've already answered that. Yeah, you can buzz us anytime you want. First and foremost, just the off season. Talk to us about what the challenges were. We saw what's going on in baseball because we don't know about the revenue and the fans, and I know you talked about that with the guys. But what was the off season like, and how different was it? Knowing that you don't know you're gonna have fans and just all the different things. What was that like?
I want to start.
Yeah, it was an interesting offseason, not just for us, but for teams around baseball. You kind of went from, the sort of off season where we just played a shortened season, without fans and all the economic implications of that, trying to figure out what the short-term, long-term implications of that would be, trying to be a little bit deliberate with, how you were managing your roster and your payroll, but also knowing that, we have aims of being competitive and we had roster spots and roster holes to fill. So, it was kind of a constant evaluation of where we were and what we still needed to do. And, we look up now and I think we signed almost as many major league contracts, free agents to major league contracts as any team in baseball. So, we were pretty active from that standpoint, but as much as anything, it was just kind of a consistent evaluation of where we are, what we still need to do. And let's look to kind of, build around the team we have, work around the edges, and just make sure we're as competitive as possible come opening day.
So what do you think, John? We're not going to give him the Richard Dawson kiss, but good answer. Good answer. Good start.
Yeah, he does not want the Richard Dawson kiss.
And I do feel like, Marty and Kerry kind of went opener. So we're going to come right in here. And Greg Papa, by the way, Farhan, I've been observing you from afar with Billy and David across the bay for years, and obviously with Andrew and the Dodgers down there. And just anxious to talk to you. First question, broad strokes. I want to go back to November the 6th of 2018. When you were introduced, Larry Baer's sitting next to you, and you're the new, president of baseball operations. From that day to today, the start of Fanfest and a brand new year in 2021, how much better, and it's somewhat of a loaded question because I think you are better, is your 26-man roster and your 40-man roster?
I think it's significantly better. I understand the question. And from our standpoint, I see the trajectory now a little bit better. Back in 2018, I mean, frankly, a lot of it is my own familiarity with our situation, the additions we've made, what we have coming through the farm system right now. When I was sitting there back in November of 2018, there was a team that had an incredible run. As we've talked about, there's always a price to pay when, you have a long run of success and you're pushing chips in, which is, what the city and this fan base expects from this organization. But, there's a price to pay at some point. So really over the last couple of years, we've tried to position ourselves, breaking in some younger players who are going to be here for a long time, setting ourselves up with a deeper roster, to your point, not just the 26-man, but the 40-man roster, and getting our farm system in a position where we're going to have an injection of youth that's going to help kickstart our team every year going forward. So those are some of the goals we had. And, again, I look back on 2020 and with a lot of positive things that happened, it still stings that we weren't able to get into the playoffs, because I still feel like we're a team that could have done damage if we had just been able to, sneak through the door with that last playoff seed. But that certainly gives us motivation coming into 2021.
Farhan Zaidi is joining us, Fanfest 2021, Papa and Lund here on The Sports Leader. You mentioned how close you got, and then you went out and you got some guys who obviously you believe, and I heard you talking with the guys, that when projections get made by these computers, they don't take into account some of the things that you guys did last year, the hitting approach, even guys who've been here forever, Brandon Crawford and Brandon Belt, and all these guys were praising everybody. You brought in pitchers who have exceeded expectations. Anthony DeSclafani talked about it. It's one of the reasons why he came here. Can you just talk about a little bit about the approach and why those projections do work for you? Because you guys have proven in a short period of time that when guys come in here, they get better.
Yeah, that's the challenge that we have, in the player market, is everybody's looking at those projections. So, if you are just out there and trying to put a team together to, maximize your projected wins, you're kind of just playing for the top a little bit, because that's the same strategy that everybody else has. So the next level for us, we've talked a lot about major league development. So, we may say, okay, this projection, the projections for this hitter are, 250 with 10 or 15 homers. Do we have the ability through coaching and through instruction to help this guy get to 260 and 20 homers. I mean, that is why we keep using that theme of Major League development. And we did have a lot of success stories last year. And look, it's not easy to replicate, but that's going to have to be a big part of our success in 2021.
And it was really interesting, I got to say, to watch your 13-person coaching staff. And initially, 3 pitching coaches, 3 hitting coaches. Is this overkill? How's this all going to work? But, watching you and seeing some video behind the scenes, it was really impressive. But I think it all starts from Gabe. And, you kind of, had his back and stuck your own neck out there a little bit to hire him. But you knew him from the Dodger days and obviously observed him in Philadelphia. So as you said, you were 1 hit away from getting into the playoffs last year. I thought if he would have gotten that hit, he should have received a lot of votes and been a top candidate for National League Manager of the Year. But my question is, evaluate Gabe Kapler's first season as your manager, Farhan.
Yeah, I agree with you, Greg. I think he did get a little bit of Manager of the Year consideration, and it could have been significantly more if, we had gotten that 1 pitch or that 1 hit that we needed to get over the hump. But I think he's done a phenomenal job. He's been out in the community. He's done a lot in the community, which is really important in this region and to our organization. He is so connected to his players. I've been around a lot of managers. He's as good as anybody at just maintaining those lines of communication, whether it's in person, by text. He's so good at checking in with people. And even the idea of the coaching staff, his sort of willingness to innovate, when he first came to us and started talking about his vision, I have to admit, we had the same reaction as a lot of people, kind of raised eyebrow. How are you even going to fit 13 coaches in a coaching room? But he had this notion of, in school, we talk a lot about, pupil to teacher ratio and the value of having more instruction, for whether it's students or players. And it was really impactful. I think that was a big part of our success last year. And the last thing I'll say about Gabe is his own willingness and humility in making adjustments. We saw it with how the pitching staff was managed over the course of the season. Starting pitchers in particular, early in the season, they got a little bit less rope. Some of that was because of our concerns keeping them healthy, but he made adjustments as the season went along. And, I respect that and value that. I know the players do too. They want to see a manager who's willing to take input and make adjustments. And he showed the ability to do that last year.
Farhan Zaidi is joining us, president of baseball operations for your San Francisco Giants Fanfest 2021. We talked about the current players that are on the roster, and I know with the guys before us in Kerry and Marty, you talked about Joey Bart. One of the things about Bart, and then some of these younger guys too, but you talked about Bart, and he's still obviously the catcher of the future. Nothing has persuaded you guys to think anything differently. Buster is back, and he's going to be the starter. Do you know where Joey is going to start? Is he going to be a backup at the major league level? Is he going to be a AAA? And what about Patrick Bailey? Where do you envision him being this year?
Yeah, I think Patrick's probably going to start somewhere in A-ball, with it being his, really his first full professional season without, being able to get out at all and play affiliated ball last year. As for Joey, nothing is set in stone, but, our intent in signing Curt Casali this offseason was not to put ourselves in a position where we would be forced to have Joey on the roster as a backup, catching once or twice a week behind Buster, and not really getting the development at bats that he needed. So there's certainly a scenario where he starts out the season in the minor leagues in AAA. We'll just have to see how it plays out with the health of the guys in front of him. I mean, if he gets into duty and if he has a terrific camp, which he's done in the past, maybe that equation changes. But we have luxury of giving him a little more time this year on his experience last year, which I'm sure he'll build off of. But you just never want to be putting a guy in a situation on the major league roster, particularly in a backup role, out of necessity, as opposed to really believing that's what's best for him long term.
Yeah, I just got a text from Marty. You're throwing nothing but softballs. Would you buzz his tower and come in with a hot one? So I'm going to end on this because, obviously I was around the A's and Billy Beane for a long time. And even going back to the 90s, I was around Sandy. And I think Sandy was the OG with the analytics. And, and Sandy went to San Diego with Boch. You were talking about Gabe's, evolving as a manager. And I think a lot of that is in-game situations, when to take the starter out, when to go to the bullpen. But in an analytics-driven organization like you guys are, how much input do you and Scott and members of the organization have not only in the lineup game to game, Farhan, but in-game adjustments?
Yeah, I mean, in-game adjustments, really none. I mean, we'll talk about it ahead of time, talk general philosophy. And there's an ongoing conversation between the front office and the coaching staff about how we view players and what the right roles are and how we put these guys in the best positions to succeed. So, the philosophy is not to sort of micromanage or plot out every specific scenario. I mean, that's impossible. And you don't want to be locking up your coaching staff and manager, on what was the discussion we had about this scenario again. That's really no way for these guys to, we talked about putting players in the best position to succeed. It's true of your coaches and manager too. But I think the more important thing is that everybody is generally on the same page on how we view the roster, how we view players, what we think their best roles are. And so it's a much more general conversation, which is, important and productive. And, every successful front office manager pairing, I think, has that general understanding, and the line of communication stays open. So, specific moves here and there, we try not to get too in the weeds on.
Lineup, do you, Farhan? Do you do lineups?
No, I mean, again, it boils down to kind of general. It's a little bit more, who do we think are good matchups against this pitcher? Is it a lefty? Is it a righty? The actual order is something that Gabe talks to his coaches in. Only in very specific scenarios will we even have a discussion on who's playing. Because again, if you have an understanding of the players, how, what their roles are and, what they're best at, then, the lineup should be kind of generally understood on a day-to-day basis. There should be consensus without having to have a conversation about it every day.
Farhan, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. Always love hearing from you. I'm sure we'll talk to you throughout the season, but have a great season, and we'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely, guys. It was fun. Thanks.
You got it.
Thank you, sir.
His phone cuts out on difficult questions.
That's
a
the one
nice
about the
talent.
lineup. And why don't you take Osmond out against the Dodgers?
By the way,
crackle right there.
I know we got to get to Evan Longoria as FanFest continues, but I just wanted to say good morning because we jumped right.
Good morning, Jack.
Good morning.
How are you? How are you?
Good.
I am in my bathrobe, by the way, in case you're wondering. I'm clean, though. I just got out of the shower, so I'm really
Very nice.
Sounds like baseball, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Marty Lurie back on the radio
Absolutely.
today.
Sounds awesome. FanFest continues, but remember, Giants 2021 season vouchers are available now for as low as $25. Vouchers are flexible as they can be used towards tickets to most regular season games in 2021. Limited time offer, so you got to jump on this now. Head to sfgiants.com/tickets. That's sfgiants.com/tickets to secure your seats today. We did hear yesterday that there is a good chance possibly that we could have fans as early as opening day on a limited basis. So jump on that again, sfgiants.com/tickets. Evan Longoria is next as FanFest continues, only here on the Sports Leader.
This is KNBR's 2021 Giants Fan Fest, bringing you conversations with your favorite members of the Orange and Black, now till 5 p.m. on your exclusive home of Giants baseball, KNBR 104.5 and 6E, the sports leader.
KNBR and the San Francisco Giants want to thank the teams at Dignity Health St. Francis Memorial Hospital and all of the brave women and men who continue to work the front lines in our communities. When the whole world stopped, these people kept going, working through unbelievable challenges and against countless odds. They put the health of their patients first, no matter what. While we can never thank them enough, they'll always be our heroes. Their humanity lights the way.
How did Giants players answer questions from fans like you during the 2021 KNBR Giants Fan Fest? To find out, head to KNBR.com/NorCal Honda now. KNBR's Ask a Player Anything promotion is sponsored by your Northern California Honda dealers. Honda is family, and right now you can get a family-friendly deal on a new Honda Civic, Accord, or CRV, all with Honda Sensing Standard. To set up a safe, easy way to get your family a Honda, ask any Honda dealer at NorCalHondaDealers.com.
No guy wants to feel or look weak. That's why we don't ask for help. But being strong can be even tougher when you're dealing with a pandemic. When COVID hit, I started feeling isolated and my depression got worse. I knew that if I didn't do something different, it was going to end badly. So I talked to a buddy who got me to a website and some counseling. Now, I'm starting to feel much better. I'm still a tough guy, just one who needed a little help.
Feeling down or thinking about ending it all? These are real issues that don't just go away by themselves. Get help from a trained professional today. Call 1-800-273-8255 or visit www.scchope.org/help. That's www.scchope.org/help.
If glittering diamonds are winter white,
Then aquamarine is icy blue,
it's the same stone as an emerald.
but icy blue instead of forest green.
Aquamarine is subtle.
And magnificent.
Shreve & Company brings you the most exotic, rare, and beautiful gemstones.
And we've been doing it for 5 generations.
Shreve & Company.
The rare, the exotic, and the beautiful.
150 Post off Union Square.
In Palo Alto, perfectly situated in the Stanford Shopping Center.
Hey, I'm Brian. As an aspiring baker, I've got a lot of secret ingredients, but my best one yet? Metro by T-Mobile. Metro gave me and the family high-speed data for only $25 a line for 4 lines and covered the switching fees. Plus, they threw in 4 free Galaxy phones just for switching. Now we can post pictures of my latest bakes and get out the word so the whole town knows I'm whipping up something sweet. How's that for stretching some serious dough?
You work hard for your money. With Metro by T-Mobile, it goes further. This tax season, there's 0 fees to switch. Right now, enjoy Metro's lowest price. Just $25 a line for 4 lines with taxes and fees included. Plus 4 free Samsung Galaxy phones when you switch. Now that's the best deal in wireless.
I'm Brian, and that's how I rule my day with Metro by T-Mobile.
All lines use promo rate if any deactivates. Sales tax and regulatory fees included in price. 0 fee on select phones. Limit 1 free phone per line with port. Exclude sales tax. Limited time offer. Additional terms apply. See metrobytmobile.com.
I like a bed that's really firm.
I need something a little softer than that.
Rest easy. With the Sleep Number 360 smart bed, you can both adjust your comfort with your Sleep Number setting.
Can it really help me fall asleep faster?
Yes, by gently warming your feet.
Okay, but can it help keep us asleep?
It senses your movements and automatically adjusts to keep you effortlessly comfortable. Sleep Number, proven quality sleep is life-changing sleep. Don't miss our weekend special. Save 50% on the Sleep Number 360 limited edition smart bed, plus special financing and free premium delivery when you add a base. Ends Monday. Special financing subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See store for details.
Here on The Leader, we're making it official. Baseball is back. This is KNBR's 2021 Giants Fan Fest, sponsored by Dignity Health, the official healthcare provider of the San Francisco Giants, and by your Northern California Honda dealers. To set up a safe, easy way to get your family a Honda, ask any Honda dealer at NorCalHondaDealers.com. Now to prepare you for the season ahead, here are your FanFest hosts, Papa and Lund, on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
Flores being held at first. The pitch is drilled to left field. This one is crushed, and it is up and gone. Maybe 2/3 of the way up the bleachers, and not just pure straightaway left field out toward left center. That was a booming home run and a fitting one, a milestone for Evan Longoria, the 300th home run of his major league career. It makes it 2-0 Giants.
There's great Dave Fleming. Evan Longoria expected to join us shortly. Then Buster Posey is going to join us at 11:40 as FanFest continues. Remember, while the ability to host fans is still unknown, the Giants want you to know that your safety is their top priority. When welcoming fans back to Oracle Park, the team will be in compliance with the latest San Francisco Department of Public Health standards, including health screenings, required face coverings, and mandatory social distancing at the ballpark. Go to sfgiants.com/fansafe for more details. Well, we're waiting for Evan Longoria. How was your first conversation with Farhan?
Oh, delightful. You were here to hear it. I mean,
yes.
He's an interesting man, obviously highly intelligent, little bit of an unusual path to being the president of baseball operations, but it's not that unusual in modern, not just baseball. I mean, sports is branched out. When you look at the guys who are the top decision makers in their sport, Bob Myers came from being an agent. They're out-of-the-box thinkers, and Farhan certainly is. The question that I asked him is the one that, the last one, is the one that I've been thinking about a lot, because, and he downplayed it, and it is when you build, a roster, you have a role for each player and how they're gonna be put on the roster. but but they're put on the roster to fill a role, and then it's up for the coaching staff to put them in the right places. So, that's been going on for a long time. And that's where Sandy Alderson got into with Boch years ago in San Diego, when they go to somebody to go down to Boch's office and say, here's your lineup tonight. And, so Sandy's been doing it for years. I liked, his answer to that. The other side of it, and if we had time to ask him a follow-up, but Marty and Kerry hogged him for 15 minutes, we didn't have time, is that Gabe is so impressive in his analysis of players, not just outfielders like Dubon's development as a center fielder. And he talked in great detail about him tracking the wall. Some players get a little sheepish around the wall, but Gabe's got a really good understanding overall of the organization. So I think Gabe gives a lot of input on players Farhan and Scott bring into the organization. And then, they have an overall plan how those players are going to be used in the lineup and in games.
San Francisco Giants FanFest, Pop and Lund here on the Sports Leader. Let's welcome in Giants third baseman Evan Longoria to the show. Hi, Evan. How are you?
Hey, good. What's going on, guys?
It's good to talk to you. So we obviously always do a FanFest at the park, and we've had you on the last couple of years. So what has it been like the last year in which it was, late February then to now? We didn't know what our country was going to go through. We didn't know what was ahead of us. But not only as a baseball player, but just as a father. You have 2 kids. You have a wife. What was it like the last year for you, both the man and the baseball player?
Definitely interesting. I think we went through a lot as a group, baseball wise. We were asked to do a lot of things that were uncomfortable for us, and a lot of things that were changing on a consistent basis. So constantly adjusting to what we needed to do to make this even happen. And as a father and as a family, I think we did a lot of growing. We had a lot of time together at home, which was, kind of enjoyable for the most part in the beginning. And then, as time dragged on, I think we were ready to get out of the house and ready to return to somewhat normalcy. So we've kind of been able to do that now. And there was, I think, a lot of growing and a lot of great things that happened in that time.
Well, you and your family have had a lot of changes in your collective lives, not just last year, but, going back to when you came here. And I know Tampa had a great year this past year and went all the way to the brink of the World Series championship. But I think you could still make the point you're the greatest Tampa Bay Ray of all time. And there was a certain adjustment, changing leagues, playing outdoors on grass, the whole thing. At one point, because I think you did hit the comfort zone at some point in your run as a Giant. But if you could point your finger to one moment where you thought, I'm a Giant, I'm no longer a Ray, and I'm a National Leaguer, or I'm no longer an American Leaguer.
Just probably the second year. The first year was a bit of an adjustment period for sure. And then, moving forward to the second year, I felt like I was much more at home and was able to settle in.
Evan Longoria is joining us, Giants FanFest with Pop and Lund here on the Sports Leader. So we had Farhan on before, and we were talking about the ballpark and that scrimming right there, the archways where that went down, and that was getting a lot of credit for the ballpark playing more like a hitter's ballpark. But he said, you're only playing during the summer, so it was a little bit warmer. He was saying that there's a difference in the hitting approach, so took some credit for that. What would you say was the reason why Oracle Park played the way that it did last year?
I don't know. Maybe the balls. Maybe that's why they're changing the balls. That's a conspiracy theory thing, I think. But maybe it was the fact that we played a little bit later into summer. I think the center field wall had a little bit of a difference maker there. It was only a couple feet, but I saw a lot of balls that just hit off the wall that maybe went out last year. So. And I think maybe just the overall feel and the aesthetic of the ballpark, just feeling a little smaller, helped. So maybe all those things in combination are kind of what did it.
Yeah, you broke into Major League Baseball a while ago, back in 2008. So and you're a power hitter, 304 career home runs. What have you noticed about the evolution, the changes made to the baseball from when you were a rookie?
Honestly, I can't tell. I think that's maybe more of a pitcher's thing. But from an offensive standpoint, the numbers have gone up, and maybe some of that is the fact that the ball is different. But I think a lot of it is really just the players in the game being stronger, more powerful. The ball is getting thrown harder, and the players that are hitting it are stronger and more explosive. And so I I attribute a lot of it to that fact, and maybe just some of it to the baseball.
Just to go back to the offense, Evan, how good the offense was last year, and I know that Brendan Crawford and Brennan Belt had said the different approach, they really liked it. What was your thoughts going from one regime to the next, and all those coaches and all those young coaches, and how the hitting approach maybe was a little different?
Yeah, I mean, it just felt a little more tailored, I think, which guys enjoyed. There was a little bit more of a specific plan, both as a collective group and hitter to hitter, which I think really helps guys thrive, feel more comfortable and just really help guys develop kind of a more specific routine to get ready for games and to prepare for the season.
Last year's FanFest was probably the last normal thing we did, and you went down to spring training, but a month later, the world came to a screeching halt. So this year's FanFest, we're doing entirely differently. You guys are already at Scottsdale, not the Saturday before you leave. Well, I was going to ask you, we hear people behind you. Where are you right now? Are you in the clubhouse? Are you in Scottsdale?
No, I'm actually with my son and getting a haircut.
I love
What
it.
does he need?
Don't call you shorter. That's great.
How many kids do you have, Evan?
No, I'm not. I have two.
Yeah.
Daddy daycare is tough, man. It's hard to juggle all these responsibilities. You're obviously in Scottsdale, and you guys are going full squad workout Monday. So you've already checked in now. Have your son answer that, by the way.
I have. He can't hear. I got the earbuds in, but I have. Yeah, I've done my intake testing and done my quarantine prison sentence and good to go. So we get going Monday.
And you live in Scottsdale year round, is that correct?
I do, yes.
Yeah, that must be nice for you, right? So do you get some family time in, but you're in spring training? How nice is that to be there? And there's a lot of guys, right, that have houses down there?
Yeah, there's quite a few guys. It is nice. I think spring training is such a grind and a focus that sometimes, my wife might not be too happy about this, but, being away and out of the familiar scenario is sometimes a little bit nicer, but for as far as the family goes, it works out really well. My kids don't have to go anywhere, they don't have to move out of school, they can continue doing their routine, and same thing with my wife, she can continue doing what she's been doing, and that kind of rhythm of the day, I think, really helps. So overall, it's very nice being at home. It's comfortable, and that's, I think, the best word to describe it. Sometimes being out of the comfort zone is good, but as far as free training goes, it's nice to be comfortable.
How old are you? I got two kids, right? How old are they? Are they old enough to enjoy watching Daddy play Major League Baseball?
They're getting there. I mean, they really enjoy going to the ballpark, which we missed out obviously on that last year. I've been bringing my kids around and having them, letting them run around on the field and be a part of the ballpark and stuff like that. So hopefully we can get back to that at some point this year. But they're definitely at the age now where they understand kind of what I do and being able to come and enjoy those things.
How nice will it be that not only be able to bring your kids, but not stare at cardboard cutouts and have actual fans? They are talking about in California that the teams could play and it could be in front of fans at a limited capacity, but as soon as opening day.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all really hoping and praying that comes to fruition. We miss the fans more than they know, and it's very needed.
So Buster Posey's going to join us in a couple of minutes, Evan, and he was on our air this week, and he dropped that he kept his arm in shape by balling up soiled diapers from his twins and chucking him at his 9-year-old. Did you hear that? And is that obviously you're a great dad, because there you go again. You got things flying around your house. You're going here, there, and everywhere. Diaper changing. I was impressed that Buster changes diapers. That's great. A lot of dads don't know how to do that. Are you pretty skilled in that regard? Are you able to do that?
I am. Yeah. I try to take pride everything I do, and one of those things being a dad, and the things that we got to do around the house. So it doesn't surprise me that Buster's the same way. And I actually took a class to learn how to change a diaper with my wife the first time.
Awesome.
So we got it done.
So what's the proper technique? I had 5 kids. So, and I'll go back to, pins and all that stuff. Is there a proper technique you can give me in 30 seconds on how to properly change a diaper?
What do you think, buddy?
We try it right now.
No, he's looking at the haircut. How's the haircut? Is it good?
Yeah, the haircut's good.
Oh.
The haircut's good. The thing that you can't learn when you're trying to learn how to do it is the fact that the baby's moving all over the place. So
That's right, moving target.
The hardest thing I think is to just get the baby to stay still. Once you can do that, you don't have legs flying everywhere and then trying to turn over on you. That's probably when it becomes easiest.
And when it's your son, he just may, go number 1, right in your chin as well. So that could be a really bad dilemma there. How's the haircut? You like it? He looks good?
It looks great. Yeah, he looks good.
That's awesome. Hey, Evan, thanks for taking the time, especially during a haircut time with the kids. But we appreciate it. Have a great year. Hopefully we can see you soon, and fans can as well. We always appreciate it. Thanks.
All right, guys. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys out there. Thanks for having me on.
You got it.
Thank you.
All right, FanFest continues. Buster Posey's up next, 2021 KBR Giants FanFest. The sale is going on now at sfgiants.com/FanFest sale. Browse unique and one-of-a-kind items from your favorite Giants. Whether you're looking for Buster Posey's catcher's gear or an autographed baseball from Yastrzemski, you will find all of your game-used memorabilia needs at the year's best pricing now through Sunday. Every purchase, by the way, helps support the Giants Community Fund. So check everything out. Buster is coming up next. He made some headlines. Doesn't like the shift. We'll get into that conversation. And the one unanswered question with that is, how would you change it? That and more with Buster Posey, who was throwing diapers, took the year off, so a lot to discuss, and we'll do it next. Giants FanFest continues.
Shift, and then a word where we take the F out of it, John. That's what we're going to talk to Buster about.
Exactly. Perfect. We'll do it next. Still here on the Sports Leader.
All right. So this has been what we're listening to now is the FanFest for San Francisco Giants fans. We're an hour and 20 minutes in. You guys were forced to listen to a lot of it without me interceding. But I'm just going to throw this up on the old McGillicuddy-Jones. And
The San Francisco Giants want to thank the teams at Dignity Health
supported deal. Let's wait for Buster to come up here. So the Giants, as we were saying before, I got my phone call that I had to run off for. The Giants have a team here that could use sabermetrics in a way we've never seen before. Could use an opener, could use, 6 guys in relief, could use combinations of lefty-righty based on you have to face 3 guys rule. There could be things going on here about the bench. Now that we know that Oracle Park is different, the changes in the park in the irregular season of 2020 gave us data. Balls flying out. Wilmer Flores was knocking them out. Dubon knocking them out. Guys who aren't really power guys even knocking them out. Yaz and Solano. So the changes in the ballpark are going to be part of this thing that they've composed. That's why on paper it may not look like the Giants are that much. In fact, I think they've only said, they have the stat about how many games we're likely to win. I think they've only said we're going to win something like 72 games. They expect us to be under 500 by a lot. I don't think that doesn't sound right. I think we'll definitely be over 500. I think that we have a chance to be a pretty good team here. I like that we picked up another catcher, but I want to see Chadwick Tromp out there with Johnny Cueto. I think the matchup of Cueto and Tromp has already been proven to be successful. It has personal elements. It's dynamic. They're able to communicate in special ways that they honed. And I think that we ought to consider, if Kapler's this kind of guy, why can't we consider Tromp to be his catcher? That's something that I'm not opposed to. So now you have Tromp and you have Buster. And we don't know what Buster's going to be like at all. Every indication of his past says this guy's tough as nails, and he's a great hitter, and he's had, a year and change off. So should be pretty good. But he's 34 years old, and he's been in the crouch for a lot of those years, if not all of those years. So putting him at first base and allowing the other catcher we picked up to, or people can compete for it, and easing Joey Bart into the situation is a much smarter play. It was fun during the irregular season to have Joey Bart up there. But not carrying 3 catchers ended up biting us in the ass at the end. So, as we discussed on Giants Baseball Corner. Buster Posey, 34 years old, one-time MVP, our MVP, a special player. He has caught multiple no-hitters, and that's an element of him statistically that I think is a value you have to appreciate. He is exceptional in the relationship with pitchers and in calling a game. He knows batters, he knows umpires, he knows strike zones in that way that's intelligent. He has an IQ for it. And he's personable with them all in a way that he takes command of a game from behind the plate. You can see that in the no-hitters thrown by Sanchez and by Timmy, but the perfect game was pretty special, thrown by Matt Cain and caught by Buster. Not to mention the championship pitches, my favorite by Sergio Romo in 2012, and then Brian Wilson 2010 and Madison Bumgarner in 2014. The man behind the plate for all of that, Buster Posey, now in his 34th year, people all saying probably his last year as a Giant, maybe his last year in baseball, as he commits to his new twin daughters and family life. But this guy's a candidate for the Hall of Fame. Sure, why wouldn't he or Timmy be candidates? All of you complain that they don't have enough innings, they don't have longevity, and so on, but Hall of Fame's a joke. You won't put in the people with longevity, like Barry, so what are we doing, really?
Is next Sunday. Time to warm up with the leader.
Next Sunday.
2021 Giants Fanfest continues. Sponsored by Dignity Health, the official healthcare provider of the San Francisco Giants, and by your Northern California Honda dealers. To set up a safe, easy way to get your family a Honda, ask any Honda dealer at NorCalHondaDealers.com.
Some of the ads in here. All right, so we're going to get
5 p.m. with your favorite players, coaches, and the club's top brass. Now back to your Fanfest hosts, Papa and Lund, on KNBR 104.5 and 6.8, the sports leader.
Yeah, no, the older two are a big help, especially my daughter. My son he's more of like an entertainment piece for the babies. He'll make them laugh. He's not so much on changing
Buster
diapers.
Posey.
So the fun thing with him is that I'll change a diaper from a baby and ball it up real tight. He knows that I'm about to fire it at him, so he'll go running, and I'll keep my arm in shape that way by firing diapers at him.
Some big headlines this week. Buster Posey joins us as we continue FanFest here on the home of the Giants, the sports leader, KNBR, the sports leader. Hi, Buster. How are you?
Doing well. Yeah, thanks for having me. How did I know that we were going to start with this?
No, we have to. We have no choice. I need more details. Hitting a moving target, too. That's pretty good, right? He's trying to get away from you. It's almost like a quarterback, right?
Yeah, that's right. It's been good, fun, not so clean family entertainment.
Fits our show perfectly, Buster. We loved it. You gave us material all week. But my question is, after you said that, I'm thinking right away, your son Lee, right? His name is Lee, your wife.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get grief right away when you went home where Lee said, Dad, why did you have to say that? Or Kristen said, Buster, don't be talking about chucking diapers or dirty diapers at our son. Did you get a little pushback for this?
No, I didn't. No, Lee got a kick out of it. He was chuckling about it. And, I think Addie was a little jealous that she didn't get any pub from it, but I told her that's okay. You don't want to be getting publicity for getting whacked with a diaper, so she understood.
You could say something about her right now. Is there anything you need to say about her that we can even this thing out?
Oh man, she's so sweet. She's like her mom. I'll leave her at that.
That'll work. No, that's good.
Beautiful.
That's good.
So last year we had you on. Last year we had Mauricio and Brandon, and we were all sitting around talking. And I asked you about your Toyota commercial last year at the Fanfest, and you said you taped those in November, and it was in the can and done. So are those ever going to see the light of day? Because you didn't play last year. Are there new ads? And Kruk and Kite were good in the ads, and even John Miller in a cameo here and there, and Boach and his big head in the movie theater. But are we going to start to see some of the family get in the ads? What's going on with the Toyota commercials? I missed them last year.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what their plan is for this stuff we did last year. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do anything this year, obvious reasons because of COVID. And so, yeah, I wish I had more information for you, but I don't.
All right, so obviously you made headlines. You opted out. You adopted the twins, and you already have a set of twins. So what was it like for you to be home, and then what was it like to watch the team? And they basically came within a hit of making the playoffs.
Yeah, well, it was good to be home. I mean, as everybody felt it was strange times, and I was glad to be home with my family. I was, and I mentioned it too. If we hadn't have adopted the girls, I would have played. I think just the unknown of how the virus might have affected premature babies was just, more of a risk that we were willing to take. And watching the games was different. It definitely made me miss it, but at the same time, it was strange. I'm sure for everybody that was watching it, just seeing no fans and a bunch of cardboard pieces and Alex Dickerson trying to take them all out on every foul ball.
Right.
So it was tough not being there, but I think it was a little bit easier just because it was just such a strange year for everybody.
I got to say, when I was watching the Giants last year, I thought of you often, sitting at home watching, because you're not only a highly skilled player on both sides of the ball, obviously, you're just instinctive, you're smart, the way you can set up hitters, the way you watch their feet, you're almost like a manager behind the dish and in the box as well. So when you watched, were you, changing diapers while you were watching, and you were, ducking around the pole to watch, or did you clear space and watch? And what did you learn from watching just not only your own teammates, the other team, the entire league, and all of baseball, Buster?
Well, a little bit of all of that. I mean, sometimes it was easier to watch than others depending on what was going on, but I caught some of every game and most of all of them. And to your point, I've always enjoyed watching baseball. Number one, just because I love the game and I'm a fan of the game. But number two, I think sometimes you do learn. It could be something that I could use when we play, whoever, the Dodgers, the Diamondbacks. I could be watching their game and figure something out, or, like last year, watching all the Giants games and seeing maybe some new players in the division that I've never played before. Obviously, you can't replace being there and being in the middle of it, but I do think there is some value to that. So hopefully we'll be able to put some of that to use this year.
All right, we got some more for you, but we've got an Ask a Player Anything. You can get involved with FanFest, have your question read live on the air. All you got to do is go to knbr.com/NorCal Honda to enter your question today. Our NorCal Honda Ask a Player Anything question today with Papa Lund and Buster Posey. Gerald in Modesto asked, Buster, how often have you been golfing lately, and what's your favorite Bay Area course?
I have not been golfing much lately. I went through a spell of playing quite a bit, but really, zeroed in on baseball these last few months, and
that's what
the
I like to
time
hear.
spent at the ballpark was kind of my time, away and getting good work in. Favorite Bay Area course, I played around the country club, so I'll have to go with that in the East Bay.
Good answer. It's near us out here. You know that well. But with your hand-eye coordination, you must be a pretty decent golfer, huh?
You would think with the ball just sitting there being still. I'm okay. I mean, I'll have a couple good rounds and then I'll blow up. Typical amateur golfer.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I was in last week and I wanted to throw my clubs, but it's the way it goes. As far as the staff, obviously Johnny Cueto is familiar to you, but a lot of new guys. Gosman's been here a year, but you were gone. DeSclafani, Alex Wood. What is it going to be like this spring to catch these new guys?
Well, I'm gonna have to get to know him for sure. With Gosman, I caught him a decent amount last spring. I made a point to try to catch him in his pens, and when he threw live, and then when he was throwing in the game, I caught him a couple of times. So a little bit of experience there. DeSclafani, I've caught once in the bullpen. I've also caught Wood. So just trying to learn those guys as quickly as I can, and I'm excited to catch him. I think all these guys that signed. Have been around and have a good feel for how they want to attack hitters, and it's not just chuck the ball up there and hope for the best. So I'm looking forward to working with them.
As you were watching the Giants play last year, give me your evaluation of what you saw from Joey Bart. And there was some good when he came up. Rookie. It was extra base hit after extra base hit, and he was putting the ball in play. And then, like any player, and you yourself, when you first came up initially, struggled a little bit. He struggled on both sides. Just give me your evaluation of what you saw from him. And did you reach out to him via text or call him, FaceTime, whatever, as he was going through what he was going through last year, Buster?
Yeah, good question.
Yeah, we talked a little bit towards the end of the year. I think it's important for any player, especially a young player, to kind of, take their lumps and learn from it, because you're your own best teacher. But I thought positives where Joey seemed calm to start with. He didn't seem sped up. I think his demeanor behind the plate's really good. As you mentioned, his struggles. It's a hard game. It's one of the hardest games in the world, and to play it at that level, such a strange year to do it, to make your debut as well. Sometimes it's a matter of finding a way to kind of find that groove again. And knowing Joey a little bit like I do, I'm sure that he took what the positives of last year and the negatives and tried, and evaluated that, tried to use those in his preparation this year to get ready. And I'm sure he's when it's all said and done, will have a great career.
Lester Posey joining us, Giants Fanfest here on the Sports Leader. A couple more minutes. How was it from a health standpoint, sitting out the year, and how do you feel now coming into the game? And obviously last year they played 60. You're going to play 162. So how do you feel now physically after sitting out the year?
I had a little bit of extra time, more time than normal to work out. So I tried to take advantage of that. Really come into camp strong, and I feel good about the work that I put in, and I got going on baseball a little bit sooner. Feel like my body's moving well. Granted, it's only been a few days in camp, but everything feels good. So I'm looking forward to just really being back out and playing the game that I love and enjoying competition and getting to know new teammates and being around some teammates that I've been playing with for a decade or more now.
Yeah, it's great. It's great to hear your voice, and it's great to watch you play. You're just so high level on everything you do as a professional in every way. And we've had you on the air, a couple of times this week. You were on with TKB in the afternoon, and you said something really interesting. And even the commissioner of baseball was mulling around this and about the exaggerated overshifts that we're seeing in baseball. You mentioned Brandon Belt and hitting the ball in the hole, and Brandon Crawford defensively. I don't think they shift a lot for you because you're such a good line-to-line hitter. But my question would be, and I've heard other people propose, let's just do away with the shift. But okay, let's write it in the rule book. How do we write it? You have to have two infielders on the left side of second base. You have to have two on the right side. Every infielder has to have his spikes on the dirt. I mean, how would you propose we do this?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know I haven't thought it through enough to say this is exactly how it should be. I think anything will be better than it is now. As far as how far you want to take it, I don't think it matters that much. If you wanted to draw a circle and say a guy had to have a split in it, I don't think that's going to happen. I think it'd be more like, the third baseman can't be standing in right field. Where I feel like, where I feel like it's affected me the last few years is, with the 2 strikes, I might think up the middle a little bit more, hard ground ball, hard line drive up the middle. Well, 99% of the time there's somebody standing right behind second base now. And it's a weird feeling when, for 30 years of your life, if you, smoke a ball up the middle, it's a hit. And then all of a sudden, you feel the ball leave your bat and you think instinctually it's like, that's a base hit, but then it's a one hopper right at somebody. It's just, look, you have to adjust at the same time too. I just think from the overall, for overall entertainment value, I personally think it will be better to have guys rewarded for putting the ball in play more, because now instead of thinking maybe cut down a little bit here, punch a ball up the middle or wherever it may be, now it's like, well, that's out of the question. So now what's your option? Hit the ball in the air, which we've seen it's become so one-dimensional. So I just think it would, encourage guys to put the ball in play a little bit more. And, we'll see. Again, you have to adjust, but I think too, I mentioned it earlier this week, you miss out on some great defensive plays because guys are positioned so well, which is, I love seeing great defensive plays, and I think I'd be willing to bet those are down drastically because of how good the shifts are.
Yeah, it's a walk, strikeout, or home run. When you're sitting at home and you're watching the ballpark and how it played differently, whether it was the scrim going down in the arches, whether it was warmer weather, Farhan said, whatever the case may be, the ball. We were like, hey, I've played in this park for years. What the hell's going on here?
Yeah.
So the Giants became an offensive juggernaut last year, especially at home.
That's what we were talking about earlier.
It was interesting to watch. That's for sure. I hate I missed out.
I got to hop back in. Huh?
You got ripped off. Is like you got.
So I'm sure now we'll have those gates open in right field and the wind will be pushing in like normal.
Buster's
they're going to deaden the ball.
Yeah. They already are.
It was great to watch the offense, though. I've had a chance to work with the new hitting coaches now this is the second spring, and they're great. They're the confidence I think that they instill in guys on a daily basis, and you could see that in the lineup. Guys were just going to the plate with a good plan, and it was the offense just was rolling. It seemed like their leadoff guy was getting on a ton. Good things were happening.
One of the things you said this week, not just the shifts in the infield, you were talking about the catcher's wristbands, which I really didn't notice. I saw them on other teams. Chadwick Trump, it was quite obvious he was using it and flipping it, and we actually had him on the show, and I asked him about it. He didn't want to say what's on there, and I'm not going to ask you that, but you did say you think that should be eliminated, kind of the quarterback, call sheet wristband, and so explain that further. And I don't recall you wearing one. Have you worn one in the past, Buster?
Yeah, I was kind of talking about all of them, whether you're an infielder, you're an outfielder, you're a catcher, whomever. A lot lot of those that the position players are wearing are for positioning, and that kind of goes back to the entertainment value, right? If we're so good at predicting where a guy's going to hit the ball based on who's on the mound, who the hitter is, what time of day it is, and you tell, player A in left field to walk 3 steps to the left field line, and, the ball, he ends up making the play because of that. I get it. It works. I'm not saying that it doesn't work. And, I've talked to other people about it too. And their argument is if you don't do it now, you're at a competitive disadvantage, which I agree with that as well. But, if you eliminate all of them, it levels the playing field. So the current state of the game with everybody using them is probably something that I will, if it continues to be legal, I think it would be a mistake for me not to have that. I haven't used it in the past. But again, I think if you don't use it, or at least have it in your back pocket, no pun intended,
literally,
you're going to be you will be at a disadvantage.
Buster, as always, great to have you back. Thanks for taking the time. Have a great season. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Thank you, Buster.
That is Buster
All right, that'll
Posey.
do it for us. Thanks to Farhan Zaidi, who was great. Thanks to Evan Longoria, and thanks to Buster Posey. Pop, we'll talk to you on Monday.
And thanks to John Lund.
Yes.
It's a high noon, John.
Thank you.
Time to start. Perfect. Murph&Mac. Murph&Mac. We're flipping this. We're going before them.
That's right.
Yeah.
Murph&Mac. I don't know that I've ever said this. Murph&Mac are coming up next. They've got Yaz, Dick, and Tommy LaStella, which sounds like a nice night out.
Wow.
They're next on KNBR AM and FM San Francisco.
Sure, I go that order there, Joe.
Sports.
LaStella first.
Yeah, Papa. All right, so there you go. We are listening to the Fanfest from KNBR. This is Giants Baseball Corner. And, what Buster Posey was talking about there is Joey Bart, who is the heir apparent, if you will. Buster is 34 years old now. He has taken a year and about a third of a year off, and we're expecting a lot from him. But part of that is teaching Joey Bart, who is from Georgia, just like Buster, and who is 24 years old. The rookie last year played in the irregular season of 2020 and performed well. He came out of the gate much stronger than he finished, but we were surprisingly competitive last year. I don't think anybody expected us to be in a position to make that sort of jerry-rigged playoff system that they had, but we were there. We were in the mix there, and Bart was unfortunately a liability, particularly in those double headers, those 7-inning double headers we played in the irregular season. We were terrible at those. We lost 3 of them and we split 1. We never won the double headers. And I think our catching being what it was, I mean, Journeyman and Joey Bart was a big reason for that. Having Buster back stabilizes the situation considerably. Joey Bart is 24. He went to Buford High School in Georgia. He joined the Giants in 2018. He was one of the highest prospects in the country and the highest catching prospect in the country. We are waiting now for the next set of interviews. This is Giants Baseball Corner on Fanfest Day. Go Giants! When we usually try to catch what's on the field using visuals, but with the COVID-19, the circumstance is more like radio. They had Farhan Zaidi on this morning, the director of baseball operations. This will be posted on Giants Baseball Corner. That's at gbcorner.wordpress.com as soon as we are finished today. And yeah, it signifies the beginning of the decision to blog again. Yeah, it's been a while. I'm going to blog again at Giants Baseball Corner about the San Francisco Giants. A team this year stitched together from a variety of types of pieces. There we were talking about Tommy LaStella. We're about to hear from Tommy LaStella in the next segment here. We signed him for 3 years, $18.75 million. Contact hitter, spray hitter, guy from across the bay, has familiarity. If you know, Farhan Zaidi was with the A's before he went to the Dodgers and gained fame for the building of the Dodgers into what they are now. So he has familiarity, I'm sure, with Tommy LaStella. Kevin Gausman, who you heard Posey talking about. Posey has caught Kevin Gausman before, and Gausman was a bright light last year in the irregular season. He could have opted to go elsewhere. He decided not to. He wants to be here. That's a good sign. $18.9 million to Gausman. We signed Aaron Sanchez for a year at $4 million. Anthony DeSclafani for 1 year, $6 million. We signed Alex Wood, whom you heard Buster talking about there, for our pen. 1 year, $3 million. Curt Casali, 1 year, $1.5 million. Matt Whistler, 1 year for $1.15 million. And John Brevia, 1 year, $800,000. The Jake McGee trade was the last one. You probably heard about it. 2 years, $7 million. And the question that Marty put to Scott Harris, the GM, this morning was, will he be the closer? You know, And he replied, "That's up to Cap." So we'll see.
That's the kind of loud contact I'm looking for from Yaz. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, buddy. I like the loud contact from you too on a Saturday, buddy. You and me, buddy. Have Paulie Mac on a Saturday, dude.
You know what I mean? Like in the middle of the day, no less. This is not our usual habitat here.
I'm a Monday through Friday Paulie Mac at 6 a.m. guy. You know what I mean? So a Saturday at noon has me all tripping out here, buddy.
Oh, you're going to get unbridled Paulie Mac today, man.
Rested and caffeinated.
Rested and ready, yes.
How about we go from you and me to the guy and do our Fan Fest hour and start it off with our friend. Man, anytime we talk to this guy, we enjoy it. Yep. His name is Mike Yastrzemski. Everybody calls him Yaz, and he's on the UMA guest line right now. Hey, Yaz, welcome to Fan Fest. It's official Fan Fest with your buddies Murph&Mac, man. How you doing?
What's going on, Mike?
Great, guys. How are you doing?
Good. We're doing good. How'd that sound, by the way? You know what I noticed about that walk-off is that sound of 2020 was you guys just screaming, and that's all you could hear, right? Describe those to us, what those were like, those primal screams in the dugouts, right, with no fans.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I still get chills hearing that just now. Like those are the things you dream about when you're a kid, when you love baseball and what you look forward to having the opportunity to do. And to hear like the sheer enjoyment from the entire team is one of the most rewarding sounds that you can ever hear. And it was super fun to be able to feel that and to feel that energy from the guys. But obviously, you know, we miss the fans, and we hope that at some point here we get back to really having that good, loud, energetic vibe out there.
Well, I think a week from Sunday, Paulie, is the first game, and I think, Yaz, you guys have fans a week from Sunday in Scottsdale. You knew that, right?
Yeah, from what I hear, and hopefully it remains that way, and we can continue to follow that trend and, you know, make baseball happen again.
Right.
Man, it's going to be great. We're talking to Mike Yastrzemski, the Murph&Mac Hour on FanFest. Hey, let's take us back here. I know you've done a few interviews, but for fans who are kind of using this as their full entry, take us through your off season, man. I think you go back to Nashville where you went to college, but I don't take us through, man. What was the process? What was the training? How'd you live?
Yeah, we were in Nashville, and usually I take the first month and a half to really unwind and play golf. Like to just get out on the course and get away from everything. And, you know, I really like it as a hobby because it's such a hard game and you can't ever master it. It's kind of like baseball, you know, where, you know, the less you fail, the better you are. It's not about how much you succeed, right? You know, if you can minimize your failures, you're going to be pretty good. And I like that mindset, and I like having something else to create that mindset. I love staying competitive. So spent a lot of time playing golf in the beginning, and then once workouts start, you know, I'd hit the gym in the morning, and then I'd go right into hitting and running and call it a day, go home, eat some lunch, hang out with my wife, and that was about it.
Yeah.
Man, good living. Good living.
Yeah,
you know who's down,
I'm lucky.
You know who's down there, Paulie, is George Kittle. Did you ever come across 49er tight end George Kittle down in Nashville?
I have to go, Kerry, waiting to happen. Yeah.
But he, you know, he actually works out. My roommate in college was Sonny Gray, and his best friend from childhood is actually Kittle's trainer.
Wow.
And so he does all those, like gets a bunch of the football guys ready for the combine. And I think Kittle was really his like first guy that really helped put him on the map. His name's Jeremy Holt. Awesome dude. I actually did some running and speed work with him a couple off seasons ago, and now he's just blown up and he's so busy that, you know, I just don't want to bother him.
Right. I know, right. Well, hey, you know, that's a chance for us to use this. And Paulie, I was looking this up, man. Let's talk about this guy, Mike Yastrzemski. So it's not just that he's burst onto the scene and become a fan favorite in 2019, 2020, but Mike, you talk about Kittle blowing up. I'm going to throw two things at you here. One, listen to these six names. Okay?
12 years in the minor
Mookie
league.
Betts, Juan Soto, Ronald Acuna, Michael Conforto, Mike Yastrzemski. That's the all MLB outfield, first and second teams. Nice. So who's blowing up, Mike? I mean, you know, that's. I mean, how are you going to balance that incredible honor with you know? I don't want to say this, but like, don't let it go to your head, right?
Yeah, I think the only way to really accept that honor is with humility and by staying grounded and staying well-rounded and understanding that we can't take those things for granted and expect them to be handed to us. It kind of just fuels the fire to almost work even harder. It's something to do it once, but to be able to try and do it on a consistent basis and make sure that you can be at your peak performance for as long as possible is the ultimate goal. And so that's where I stand. You know, I use it as actually motivation because I want to, you know, number one, make sure I stay there. And number two, obviously you want to just advance. So as these guys are getting better, I want to be getting better with them. So I want to just kind of keep that focus of getting better every day and ultimately trying to help this team be the best that it can be.
Well, I mean, that's a great answer. I probably should have preceded it by just giving you a hearty congratulations too. I mean, what an accomplishment.
Yeah,
I mean, that's just,
yeah.
I mean, Mike, look, Paulie, we go back to the day, March 23rd, 2019 was when he got traded from the Orioles.
Right.
Mike, could you have imagined then holding company with the Acuñas and the Trouts and the Betts and the Sotos?
No, and you know what? I think that's why I've been able to play at my best so far and to kind of keep my head straight is because my idea of playing in the big leagues was to play one day. And if I got one day in the big leagues, I reached my goal and I was happy. If I got sent home the next day and never played baseball again, my goals were accomplished. And to have extra days on that, it all feels like bonus. So this is like, I feel like I'm playing with house money. So I don't really feel like I'm under pressure because I was never really expected to be where I'm at right now. And so I don't think of it that way. I don't think of myself the way that you guys describe me, which I appreciate so much. But I just think of myself as a kid still trying to live out his dream and to make sure that I stay here one more day.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Love Mike
I would like to just kind of tap your brain a little bit about leadership qualities. I mean, you just spoke a moment ago about, you know, trying to make some of the younger guys better and set the right example and stuff. And you certainly seem to be doing that. And, you know, last year, I think especially with the absence of Buster Posey, you know, just the climate of America last summer with all the social movements happening, you seem very comfortable in that role, whether it was communicating on behalf of your teammates to the media, but you seem very comfortable in that kind of leadership role or spokesman role. And just wondering if you could speak to that a little bit, like looking back on that experience, really tumultuous time in the United States, but yet you were kind of the mouthpiece for the team at times. I'm just wondering how comfortable you were in that role, because you certainly seem to be.
Yeah. You know, going through these things are tough for everybody, you know, because whether you know how to act, you don't know how to act, how to handle your words, how to make sure that you're being yourself while, you know, being a good person. And sometimes that gets hard. And when people don't want to do something, whether it's they don't want to necessarily let people know their opinion or they don't want to, you know, voice themselves because they're uncomfortable, that's okay. And I was someone who felt like I was comfortable speaking how I felt and how I believed because I'm comfortable with who I am. I'm comfortable in my skin, and I would rather be the one to do that and take the criticism or the love or the hate, whatever it may be, over having that fall onto one of my teammates.
Yeah, he led the league in war.
Put myself out there before putting one of them out there if they don't want to be out there.
Yeah.
For a minute, he led the league in war.
Mike, you obviously in short
like halfway
time,
through
like
the
you
shortened
said,
season.
made his debut May 25th, 2019. Here we are. It's not even 2 years since then, and you've become a huge part of the Giants landscape. Mike Yastrzemski with the Murph&Mac Hour here on FanFest, and just kind of wrapping up with here, just a little bit on 2021. We're here now, and I don't know if you're in Scottsdale yet or on your way, or if you've seen anything in the first few days that's kind of got you juiced up. I know Buster met the media, you know, Gosman, Cueto, guys like that, Bart and Bailey and your buddy Curt Casali, right, is in camp. How you feeling February 2021? And is anything that you've seen in the last few days got you juiced up?
Feeling good. I am down here. And the thing that's got me juiced up is just being around the boys again. You know, like everybody's got high energy. It's the best time of the year because right now everybody's got the same chance. And there's no better place to be than feeling like you have a fair shot and everybody's feeling good. They're healthy. We're having fun. And it's like a reunion with your friends, you know, and you get to just show up, play baseball, have fun. And we just really enjoy that.
That's beats one day in the bigs. You're now you're chopping it up and having fun. And it's funny, to your point about everybody's got the same chance. This is a question you're going to get today and every day for the next 6 weeks. Dodgers and Padres. Are you guys kind of taking the attitude of, well, we'll show up and see what happens?
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, we're just gonna focus on the Giants right now.
Yeah.
We're gonna do what we can to make sure that we're at our best when we need to compete, and we're not gonna back down from names because we have names too. We have a lot of good players and a lot of guys with a lot of history in this game who have proven to us how hard they work behind the scenes and what they're doing to prepare, and we've got a lot of confidence in them.
Yeah, by the way, Paulie, on the way out here, MLB top 100 players ranking, Mike Yastrzemski, number 51. Dude, you're ahead of, I'm going to throw some names behind you, okay, behind you. Jose Altuve, Carlos Correa, Eloy Jimenez, Chris Bryant, Javier Baez, Pete Alonso. These are guys looking up at you. Yes, so congratulations, man.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. You're too kind.
You're right. I feel you don't like the spotlight, huh? On
that's all good, man. We'll do it for you. Yeah.
I just let you guys do it, and I'll just humbly accept and say thank you, and continue to shoot to just stay here one more day.
Right, one more day. That's it. All right. Well, listen, it's been great having you. And anytime you come on KNBR, people love it. And I think you're primed for yet another Yaz-like year. So we'll look forward to it. And thanks for starting us off on the right foot.
Thanks, absolutely. Mike. Thanks for having me, guys.
There he is,
cool.
Mike.
That's
Yastrzemski.
Pretty
He's
cool.
One of my favorite guys now, Mike Yaz. But again, that's what this FanFest thing is why this is such a great experience for us as well as the audience. Murph, you bring in a Yaz, you look around, where do you go from there? Do you chase it with a dick? You bring in the dick. You know what I'm saying?
You are I almost said something that was mildly inappropriate, but it's
all good. What's that Saturday vibe you got going? Exactly. Yeah.
Hey, Paul, I got to get a couple things out there because there are need to know things. Okay. While the ability to host fans is still unknown, the Giants want you to know that your safety is their top priority when welcoming fans back to Oracle Park. The team will be in compliance with the latest San Francisco.
They read these a couple of times today. So we're listening to FanFest. That was Mike Yastrzemski. He led the league in WAR. It's pretty crazy how 12 years in the minor leagues, and the Oriole system gives him to us, and the fit is perfect, and he is having this thing happen to him at the age of 31, 32 years old that has, limits that are not measurable in the same terms as other people because of how he's come to the game. Not his lineage, although his lineage is fantastic. It's storybook, right?
You said he's coming. He is coming. Alex Dickerson.
That's
go, right.
This
they
guy.
call him Grandpa, Paulie. Next.
He had a kid.
KNBR 1045 at 680, the sports leader.
So Alex Dickerson was a star of the shortened season, the irregular season. That's what we call it. You are listening to Giants Baseball Corner. I am MTK. We are listening to the KNBR broadcast of FanFest. Under COVID control, it has been announced the first Giants game will not be today, but it will be a week from Sunday. The full squads are together. A lot of them are coming on the radio right now. We've had Farhan Zaidi. We've had the GM, Scott Harris. We just had Buster Posey and Mike Yastrzemski. And coming up, Dickerson, who was incredible during the short season, had the kid, and then came out screaming as a new dad in that epic way. All the guys who fit into this, it's going to be exciting to see them play. And that's why we have to talk about Donovan Solano, because the horrible bad story in this whole thing, the one that nobody wants to look at, and certainly KNBR won't, is arbitration with Donovan Solano. Because Donovan Solano was the first player the Giants went to arbitration with in 18 years. We had successfully either let him go or made the right deal with him. And Solano bit back because he had a phenomenal year. Donnie Barrels, national news. He was batting .452 on August 15th. He was getting national attention. I'm certain his agent, who was, he played for the Mets, so it's not like he doesn't have media savvy representation, right? He did not want to go into arbitration, and he did, and he lost. So now we have to have Donnie Barrels accept. He's got to sign the paper, and it's tricky. And Dickerson took off. So it's funny how Solano, even on the field, lost leverage. And I want to stand by Giants management in this, but my heart always stays with the players, But I wish we wouldn't have gone to arbitration with Donovan Solano. That said, Wilmer Flores will be back, another star of the irregular season. A guy who he hit clutch home runs to win games. He had a walk-off homer, in fact, against one of these NL West teams the whole nation's talking about, the Bums and the Padres. So I think this team is going to have a lot of changing parts, and we're not going to be done dealing. I think the pattern I'm noticing with Farhan Zaidi is he makes the quiet sets of deals to get more players rather than spend a chunk of money on one guy. And if something doesn't work in the front end of the season, he dispenses with it quick and replaces it. So that it took us almost till July that first year with Farhan to even feel like there was a team. And it's frustrating to a lot of fans, but that's the new deal. We're operating with sabermetrics at the core with it.
I know that you need a strategy to help make sure your hard-earned money goes.
This is still ads. And the sabermetrics-led system, which we got to see in the irregular season, was crazy. Shifts all over the place. You heard Buster Posey. He was this week quoted saying, "The shift is stupid. We should outlaw the shift." And then you heard why. He was answering the question. And Buster, sorry, bud, you better learn how to bunt to the left and run to first. Not to be a dick. I love you. But his argument got right there to the door. And I was like, no, that hot ball I hit up the middle, there's a guy back there waiting for it. Yeah, well, guess what? That's because there's nobody over here. So you could also go in the cage or do whatever you got to do to figure out how to. And he's switch, isn't he? Oh, but they probably switched the field then, don't they? Anyway, so he's adamant against the shift. And that was a pretty fascinating conversation. And so we've got a ton of utility infielders now and utility outfielders, guys who could go from the outside to the inside, which is crazy. And sorry, we're waiting for the ads to end. This is Giants Baseball Corner. I am MTK. We're talking about Fanfest, and we're letting it roll until the YouTube makes us not exist anymore. Talking about the team, covering the things they probably won't cover here, like the Donovan Solano arbitration, which is an ugly element of how our season is starting. Curt Casali, one of those three catchers earlier, we were talking about how I was glad we have more catchers so that the weight is not on the rookie, because at the end of the irregular season, Joey Bart really suffered. And Curt Casali is out of surgery and apparently should be ready for opening day. So there's a possibility that he could be on the bench by opening day. But I'm guessing, Buster's going to catch Gausman on opening day, right? It hasn't been announced, but that's what I'm guessing. And we are just waiting for them to come back with Alex Dickerson here. Listen to all that dead air. Man, KNBR, dude. Give me a break. I mean, it's rolling.
The game has now hit 3 in this one.
Yeah, true story, Paulie. You and me, Brian Murphy, Paul McCaffrey, on a Saturday at noon.
Yeah.
Fanfest style, right? You feeling good, Paulie?
I do. I feel really good. I feel more rested than I usually am when we're on the air. So I feel like I got maybe an exorbitant amount of energy. I'm ready to rock.
Yeah. Barge down the door because another one of our favorites. We just talked to this gentleman a couple days ago.
Yeah, but
and now he's back.
That doesn't mean we don't need another conversation. We do. Yeah.
Alex Dickerson. Everybody calls him Dick, and some kids call him Grandpa from way back when, but we just call him a friend of the program. Hey, Alex, welcome back to your buddies Murph&Mac here, and happy FanFest, man. This is the day that everybody in the Bay Area really kind of tunes in and gets the vibe going. So happy FanFest. How you doing, Alex?
Doing great. Obviously, it's not the same as when we're up there and getting to actually sit in booths and see all the fans, but you know, we got to make do with what we got at this stage.
Right. Yeah, and last time we talked to you, it was little baby Levi was a main focus. Any new developments? Is he up walking? Is he driving yet? What's going on?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he does it in the next few days. I mean, he works really hard. We throw him on his stomach, and you can see him just get frustrated that he's not moving. So it's coming along.
Yeah. Did you see Buster's comment about keeping his arm in shape about firing poop-laden diapers at his kid? Did you see that?
Hey. Yeah, somebody I heard that through the pipeline somewhere. Hey, you got to do what you got to, whatever your responsibilities are around the house, you got to find a way to, you know, get back in shape. And in my case, I use Levi as whatever month he is. That's about the weight I'm usually picking him up, throwing him around. And
He came on August 10th,
in
so
much better shape than normal.
This is going to be great, man. Hey, let's start with, you know, the obvious question. How you feeling? You know, how's the body? Did you have anything done in the off season? What's the when Alex Dickerson hits the grass for the first full squad workout on Monday? How you going to be feeling?
Definitely the best I've felt walking into spring in probably since I was 21.
Wow.
I really do feel just amazing. I've had a good routine where just got some physical therapy sessions in over the off season, just got my body nice and balanced, and then kind of built up once December hit and built up to now. And it's probably the best my swing has felt coming in, best my legs have felt. Now, there's always a vicious reality once we get about 4 days in and competition heats up. Like, no matter what you do in the off season, you're going to have 2 weeks of being real sore in spring. So I'm anticipating that, but like I said, this is by far the best I've felt going into the first day.
That's so good to hear, because he was smoking hot.
Man, that's a huge development for you. What an underrated thing. I mean, people just take your bodies for granted, but you haven't been able to, and now you do. You've been getting swings in the off season down in San Diego. Is it you got a guy you work with?
Yeah, I still was able to go see my high school hitting coach and go kind of do some workouts and stuff in his backyard. It was a little different year because we couldn't get on fields, and with Corona still at large and everywhere's kind of getting shut down, but I was able to just kind of work out in cages, which I think most Midwest people do. San Diego, we're a little spoiled, so we're used to getting on the field a little more often, but this year it felt more like a Midwest guy. I was in the cage most of the time, really didn't get on the field much, but that's kind of the reality we're in. Not really worried about it, just kind of happy to be out here and getting to breathe some fresh air here in Arizona.
Yeah. Talking to Alex Dickerson on the Murph&Mac Hour here on FanFest. It's funny you mentioned Midwest. That's been one of those talking points with you always, that you have that Indiana connection, right? And do you still have? Didn't he? As I recall, Paulie, I think didn't he have a cabin out there, like a hunting cabin or something? I mean, let's hope so. Yeah.
Well, we go out there and have a good time. Just kind of college reunion every year, and we were able to get it in this year with a few extra steps. Everybody had to take a test one before we left. Got one while we were there, and then got one while we were back. And happy to say the cabin went off without a hitch.
Nice.
Nobody got coronavirus. We did cut down one of the cabin owner's trees, which we had to reimburse.
Well, wait a minute. What happened? What happened there? How'd that happen? Let's cut this down.
Firewood.
Yeah. Oh, okay. And then you didn't realize it was something you weren't supposed to do.
It started snowing. We had to warm up.
Yeah. Hey, man, Survivor, right? You're playing Survivor out there. So
I got to ask guys out there in the sticks, Indiana.
Totally. Talking to Alex Dickerson on the Murph&Mac Show. And Alex, obviously, you're an Indiana boy. I got to ask the obvious question. I mean, Indiana is identified as like the basketball state, or one of the premier basketball states. So I don't know, Murph, what are we talking? Like a high school age Dick growing up? Like, what are you, power forward?
Well, he did high school in San Diego. So
yeah.
Well,
that doesn't mean who's your basketball until college. San Diego, we're not in the same ballpark as Indiana basketball. That was for actually my recruiting visit. I saw Eric Gordon and saw this 18-year-old kid, and everybody just chanting his name just for his first practice. He goes out and goes through the leg, dunks it, and I was just sitting there the whole time. I was like, I've never seen that in my life. Like, this is, I mean, it was a whole other animal. Something that was really exciting to watch while I was there.
He's still going. He's still playing. He's on the Rockets.
He's still going.
He's a great player.
He's on the Rockets now. Yeah. Former 6th man of the year. So there you go. Okay. So we had a little fun thing here, Alex, because, we had you a couple days ago. We covered a lot of stuff. So we can cover some other fun, different stuff here. And we have this feature here called Ask a Player Anything. And that is the fans get involved at FanFest and have your question read live on the air. So you head to KNBR.com/NorCal Honda to enter your question. And our NorCal Honda Ask a Player Anything question of the day here on Murph&Mac comes from Jimmy in Martinez, California. And he asks a pretty simple question. What do you players think of 7-inning doubleheaders?
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of it when considering that two nine-inning games kind of drags on for a really long time. I like the aspect that it does give a different view of baseball where it's kind of a sprint. You can't, you're going to use your pitching a little differently. And with us, with the way the schedule has been and we had so many cancellations, I was a huge fan of it in the minors, but then there's the reality that you kind of build your team to play 9 innings. So then you get thrown these 7-inning games and it is a different animal. And I think after a couple of years, maybe we'll know how to play that a little more and see the strategy.
Well, we sure don't know now.
Something that was just kind of thrown on us.
We better in a couple of years.
We had particularly much success just by chance, but I do like them. I think it's a different way to see baseball, and you get 2 games in, and it seems like almost half the time.
I wonder, I got to think, they were done because of COVID, because of the tight schedule. But if we could ever get to, like, say, 2022, when there's no COVID, hopefully, and they'd probably do away with them, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I think so, just because, like, when it comes down to, say what the extra inning thing, I really like it. I like how it speeds up the game. The problem is the statistics. And how you want to count those and how you're going to adjust them for arbitration.
It's all
because
fucked.
the guy can throw a complete game.
You got to throw out 2020.
Completely different than a 9
You got to throw out 2020.
game. Those kind of things. And so just like with the runner on second, it's really unfair for the pitcher to be just thrown in that situation without him having gotten himself in it.
It's the irregular season.
I think they don't give him the earned run for that run scored, but what if that scenario is the reason why he gives up a home run and the guy that hits the home run is that one does go against him, I believe. So there's some adjustments there, but I think it's a neat little twist to the game right now.
Boy, you're right about the runner on second is such a tough deal for a pitcher who can do his job and give up like 2 weak contact grounders.
Yeah, and give up the game.
Lose the game.
Yeah, and the game. Yeah, right. It really is miserable for them.
Yeah, it's an irregular season. We don't need to do any of that bullshit anymore.
You guys are jumping
Throw
around.
it out.
Yeah, you got a game-winning RBI with a chopper. You know
Double
what I mean?
head, 7-inning doubleheaders are bullshit.
Hey, a little bit, Buster stirs, keeping it on the sort of the broad topics here. Buster made some news this week on KNBR by saying he feels strongly against the shift. And then Larry Bear came on our show Friday and said that he feels the same way in the front office. And he said he thinks something might get done in the CBA coming
Just
up
learn
in
how to hit
December. The Alex Dickerson feeling. I mean, how do you feel? You hit a rocket into right field. There's a third baseman in shallow right. He picks it and throws you out. Is that just the breaks of the game, or should there be something done to restore, to be rewarded for line drives up the middle and line drives in the hole?
Yeah, I kind of like sit in the middle on this one. I see both sides, but I like the integrity of like, hey, this is baseball. Put everybody wherever you want, and if you're smarter, you're going to benefit from it. I'm a guy that actually does hit a lot of like randomly a few ground balls to the left side, so they don't shift me all that often, and I like that I see the benefit of teams assuming I'm the shift guy, and I get like a weak double down the left field line that should have been a really easy, 5-3 out.
Yeah,
but
yeah, learn how to hit.
I do see the one I don't like the super over shift. The one Belt has to deal with where he crushes a ball. It's clearly over the infield in front of the outfield, and there's a guy waiting right there. There is an argument to say, well, you have the whole field use it. The problem, the pitching has gotten so good that you can't really go and finesse balls to the other way. The guys are throwing too hard. You can't really time it up like that. So I kind of like there's a rule that people are throwing out there. Maybe draw a line up the middle behind second, and you got to keep 2 on each side.
Yeah.
I like that because you can still do the shifts. It kind of keeps the tradition of the game shortstop, you're on the left side, third baseman, you're on the left side, second, first on the other side. And you can still shift them. You can move them around. You can move the ground ball up the middle is not going to be a hit ever again. All right, we got to accept that. They're going to move the shortstop up there. Shortstops are really athletic now. You can back them up a little bit. And the reality is they're going to cover that one because as we grew up, that's the natural ground ball we like to do. It was a hit our whole life. It's not anymore. And I think we got to accept that one. But if you draw that line up the middle and they can't do the overshift, I think you see a little more offense, a little more exciting, and you're still going to get that strategy. You're still going to have those two guys over there, and you can move them around,
Yeah, they can even run to cover that spot you're talking about.
Where you want to put them. So I think that might be a decent compromise with that rule.
I would accept that.
That's a really good answer and thought out, and I'm with you. I think so too. I think the data has just gotten so good. I understand the shift's been around forever. Ted Williams got shifted. Willie McCovey got shifted. But the data's gotten so good, Alex, that the computers know exactly where the ball's going to go, and it kind of takes the fun out of the game. At least that's how I feel.
The big thing they found out was that major league hitters, for the most part, they don't hit many balls on the ground to lefties to third base, righties to first base. It just doesn't happen. Like, to get to this level, that shouldn't be like coming up very often, because then if you're doing that, you're probably not driving the ball very often. Like, most of the balls I hit there, because I have a natural bat path that it really happens on just a lot of mistakes, and I do that, but the majority of the league just doesn't. So they just found out, like, oh, the template now is we're going to shift you until proven otherwise, instead of we're going to let you play for a little bit, then we're going to shift you because the numbers just don't line up right.
It's really interesting. It's good stuff. We could. I'd love to keep talking, but I think your time is up. You're off the hook, Alex. You're
good stuff, though, man.
Yeah. I want to hit you with the data cards and the three true outcomes, but we'll have to do it.
We'll leave you alone for a little while, but we'll be back.
Anyway, listen. Are you in Arizona yet, by the way, or on your way this weekend?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been here last week, just getting ready. I'm really excited.
Good. Yeah, well, good, man. Between you and Yaz, it sounds like a couple of slugging outfielders are ready to go. So thanks for your time. We always appreciate the conversation. Yeah. We'll look forward to our next one.
All right. Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me.
You got it,
man. Paulie.
Listen, I'll tell you what, I can't get enough right now. I really can't. It's the voice, the delivery, it's the content. There's a lot going on. Yeah.
There's an undeniable charm.
Well, there's an honest, there's a sincerity there with the dick. That's what it's elusive.
With the dick. They just love calling him the dick.
One of the most naturally sincere and honest Giants we've had in a long time.
And kind of quietly, some underrated pipes on him, too. Like, just in a sneaky way.
There's sort of is there a Mike Morse quality to his sincerity? Or is
in terms of the likability, yes. His Q ratings are very similar. Yeah.
All right. Hey, I'm going to tell you this. The 2021 KNBR Giants Fanfest sale is going on now. This is important to me because I myself and my incredibly smart and capable co-chair, Kelly, we are the co-chairs of the Giants Community Fund for the next 2 years. And we're trying to do the best for the kids. And it helps us to have funds. And you can help us by participating in the 2021 KNBR Giants Fanfest sale going on at sfgiants.com/fanfest sale.
Okay.
And this is where you browse unique and one-of-kind items from your favorite Giants. Whether you're looking for Buster Posey's catcher's gear, you can make one of those, make it like a coat of armor in your den, put it in a glass case, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or an autographed baseball from the likes of a Mike Yastrzemski. All right, you'll find all of your game-used memorabilia needs at the year's best pricing. This is through tomorrow only, and every purchase goes to support the Junior Giants and Giants Community Fund. So
I got to tell you the truth, though. I could see you guys making a bid or placing a bid on Buster's gear, and then I already have a vision of Rory just with the shin pads on at home, just watching the game, just all geared up,
That is it, man.
Yeah.
He and in the Bogut jersey, too. All right, here's the one we've been waiting for. And not that Yaz and Dick weren't awesome, but Tommy LaStella, a Jersey kid who wants to live in the Bay.
Yeah.
Where does that sound familiar? How does that sound
I've heard that. I look in the mirror. I see the same story. Yeah.
All right. We'll do it next on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
This is KNBR's 2021 Giants Fan Fest, bringing you conversations with your favorite members of the Orange and Black, now till 5 p.m. on your exclusive home of Giants baseball, KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
KNBR and the San Francisco Giants want to thank the teams at Dignity Health St. Mary's Medical Center and all of the brave women and men who continue to work the front lines in our communities. When the whole world stopped, these people kept going, working through unbelievable challenges and against countless odds. They put the health of their patients first, no matter what. While we can never thank them enough, they'll always be our heroes. Their humanity lights the way.
Want the real dirt on your home's concrete problems? Shift happens. You may think that your driveway and patio sits on solid ground, but it might not be that solid. Rain washes away soil. Drought can cause it to shrink. So when it comes to cracked, sunken concrete, it's really all about the dirt. Foundation Repair of California can protect your home and help restore the integrity of your property. Visit foundationrepairofca.com today to schedule your free estimate. That's foundationrepairofca.com. Shift happens. Don't let a little dirt ruin the biggest investment of your life.
T-Mobile is now the leader in 5G coverage and speed. So to celebrate, we're bringing out our best deal. Right now, get the iPhone 12 on us on each and every plan with eligible iPhone trade-in.
Cool. So I can FaceTime with my sister in Savannah.
With the iPhone 12 on us, you can unleash the fastest 5G speeds in more places.
And my bestie in Boise and grandma in Miami.
Connect near and far with an iPhone for the whole family on America's largest.
Oh man, I stuck you guys with ads. Sorry about that. I think there's only one of you, but whoever you are.
The other guys. And that's not an introductory rate.
So that was Alex Dickerson, who had that kid that they're talking about, Levi. And then he came back from it. He went on paternity leave, and he came back and went on this insane hitting streak, which was the 3 home runs that they were playing the audio of. And again, we've got this. We're not the most famous, and we don't have all like rookies, and we don't have all veterans. We have a good mix of guys who are hungry to be there, and they're in that age group between 29 and 31 that other people make fun of and think, okay, well, these guys aren't really major leaguers. That I think they're hungry, and they showed some stuff. This is a team that I think is way more than 72 wins. I think this is a team that could be an 85-win team. And an 85-win team in the National League West is competing for the National League West. So the Dodgers, I think, are fading. I think they got it. They got their little mini trophy, right? If the regular season trophy is the size it is, the Dodgers got the irregular season trophy. Their old 7 years of spending, all that BS. Okay, but they're not doing it. They're on the decline. They're not going to be able to get there anymore. They've gotten there so many times. They got cheated out of it by the Asterisks, which is just, hey, sorry, but they're the bums. You know, what are you going to do? And they got their little mini trophy. The Padres are throwing all this money at this thing, and they're saying they're going to, we're here. But they've done that before. They've thrown money at shit, and we've taken it from them on the last day of the season, which is what we did in 2010 when we won it all. So I don't think anybody wants to play us. I think we're going to be a sabermetrics team, and I think Gabe Kapler will make dumb mistakes that'll look really dumb, which is like the moment when I look at him and I'm like, but those are those math things that these guys are doing. And then there'll be these streaky sections where it goes super hot. That's what we had. We came out clunky, more errors than anybody in the irregular season. Suddenly hot streak led by Donovan Solano and Mike Yastrzemski. Now we're competing for the West, where we're striking this as a first place. We're hot. We were hot until August 12th, 15th. We were a viable NL West winning team, the Giants were. Nobody expected that. And they're still undercounting us. They've got us at 72 wins. I don't buy it. I want to hear from pitchers. It's all cool to hear from these hitters. And so I'm glad to hear Alex Dickerson's healthy. And I want to hear from some of these pitchers. I'd like to hear from Gausman. I'd like to hear from Jake McGee, Alex Wood. These are guys we've picked up that, it's going to make a difference whether they're legit here or not. If we're going to be using multiple relievers, sabermetrics-wise, blah, blah, lefty, righty, etc., then the goals of these things are to stay close. Well, your thing is to stay close, and then you win it with a bat off the bench, right? In these kind of sabermetrics type of games. You're not relying on a starter who gets wins. That's not the deal at all. It's a completely different philosophy from baseball I've watched and enjoyed in the past, but it's fascinating. And Kapler used an opener last year perfectly with Caleb, and they won. It was a pretty remarkable win, actually. So I'm not opposed to it. I just need to learn more about it. And I hope we as fans can do that. And on Giants Baseball Corner, I'll be writing about it. So.
a much longer home run than his game winner last
John
night.
Miller.
This one cleared the 18-foot high wall and was way up into the seats out there.
that
And
Will
it is
Forrest?
1-1. LaStella had hit one
Oh,
home run
LaStella.
this season, and now in his last 2 at-bats, he's
The
gone
new
deep both
Giant.
times against the Giants.
The contract for LaStella.
Tommy LaStella. This is the one, Paulie, we've been waiting for all
3
hour.
years,
I mean,
$18.75
Yaz and Dickerson are
million.
great, but Tommy LaStella, because Tommy, it's our first. I know you've been on KNBR with other hosts, but it's your go with the morning guys. We are the morning drive guys.
Yep.
Brian Murphy and Paul McCaffrey on the Murph&Mac show. But Tommy, when you signed with the Giants, your New Jersey to the Bay background jumped out at us because my partner, Paulie Mac, New Jersey to the Bay. So I'm going to get out of the way and let a couple Jersey boys talk here, Paulie. All right?
Yeah, man. Well, hey, first off, welcome to the Giants and welcome to the Murph&Mac show on KNBR. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm pumped to be here. Thanks for having me.
Okay, well, so we got to get the formalities out of the way. It's like two mafia bosses meeting. Like we have to just like go over we got to go over the important issues and then we'll talk ball.
I'm all ears. I'm looking forward to this. Yeah,
I mean, in terms of Jersey territory, just so you know what you're dealing with here. So I was a Morris County guy. I was near Morristown, Mountain Lakes, New Jersey, and I know you're a Bergen guy, right? Bergen County.
Yeah, Bergen County. I grew up in Cluster, but I actually have family out here too, so I'm not here.
Right on. So, well, the important question is, I mean, probably the most important question is when you're in Jersey, when you were in Jersey, or even when you go back, where does a LaStella family go and pick up their pizza? That's the most important thing. Where did you go? Yeah.
My favorites.
Oh, this is important now. I know this is
Very.
Yeah.
Very. Alessandro's. This is a place in Hallworth, New Jersey. It's like a town over from where I grew up.
Right.
We know the guy who owns it. He's been there forever. Makes amazing pizza. Although my brother kind of had me on this kick of like trying all the pizza in the area. There's a few different spots. One in Park Ridge, one in Rivervale. So we were kind of making our rounds this off season. Yeah, I don't know if you know the area there, but
a little bit.
So yeah, pretty much once a week we're doing like a pizza night. But I think Alessandro's probably taking the cake.
Alessandro's. Okay. Well, listen, when you're ready or when you ever find yourself in the Morris County area, I'll give you a whole list, dude. I got like a scroll of places to go to, and all of them are great. As you know, like that's the thing. I try to tell Murph all the time that back in Jersey and New York, that whole area, there really is no such thing as bad pizza. It's just tiers of greatness. Yeah.
We're listening to new Giant Tommy LaStella.
Well, Tommy, it sounds like, I mean, Paulie's not lying. I mean, the fact that you and your brother this offseason kind of made it a pilgrimage. So this is the real deal. I mean, it's part of the culture, right?
It is.
Oh yeah, it's a huge deal for Italians. I mean, it's like it's a staple. You got your pizza spot, you got your coffee spot. So yeah.
Well, is Alessandro's go by the slice, or you got to get a whole pie?
Either or. They got like a bunch of like really nice like specialty slices and stuff like that, which definitely not opposed to. But yeah, they do a good job over there.
Nice.
Well, and Paulie, my Jersey buddy here, who's also a Bay guy, he tell you got to you judge a place by its cheese slice. Is that right?
That's what I
Tommy?
do, man. I mean, when I'm working with a new pizza place, I like to I don't want to doctor it up with a bunch of toppings because that way it might.
I don't know why
I
we're
wanna see
talking
what's
to Tommy
really going
LaStella
on.
about pizza.
Give me the basics. Give me the
My
cheese.
answer
Give me the
is
sauce.
that
Give me the
these
crust.
fucking guys
Then I
at
can assess
KNBR,
what's
who I
what we're
never
working
listen
with,
to.
and then I'll add the toppings. You know what I'm saying?
who we have to deal with.
That's fair.
But that's cool.
I agree. Go with the bare bones, see what it's working with, and then you
First time, new Giant.
It's like the fundamentals of baseball. Well, good. I'm glad we got that. We don't need to go down the Spring Stream Bon Jovi road, do we, Paulie?
We'll do that
I don't know.
next time. Yeah.
We'll do that next time. All right. There you go. Tommy LaStella. And it's, you know what jumped out at me? Now, I'm the Murph part of the Murph&Mac show. I'm a Bay Area kid born and raised. And what jumped out at me was you knowing the region. I mean, in your press conference, when you mentioned not just the Napa wine country, you mentioned Muir Woods. Now, I grew up in Southern Marin, Mill Valley. That's right next to us. So I got a real adrenaline surge like Paulie did about your pizza. How does a kid like Tommy LaStella know about the Bay Area so well? I mean, I know you played for the A's the last couple of weeks, but you couldn't have learned it all in that short stretch of time, could you?
No, and unfortunately, I've never gotten a chance to go up there. But my wife's a flight attendant, so she's been all over, 10 times over. So she's told me about all her favorite spots.
Murph&Mac suck. What can I tell you? This is the guy.
I haven't gotten a chance.
The arbitration with Donovan Solano was fucked.
When we get an off day, if
but they didn't fuck him till
we're
the
able to
end.
get out there, I would love to.
And then they made the deal.
And then Muir Woods, you ready to get inside the redwoods and take some deep breaths?
Oh man, I can't wait. I've heard it's
spectacular. She's said nothing but great things.
All right,
Great
let's move
stuff.
along.
All right.
Baseball,
well, listen, Tom, we're
please.
off to a good start here, man. You really, and the big deal for you is you signed a 3-year deal for, we cover the Giants every day on KNBR. That you are Farhan's guy. You're the first guy to get a 3-year deal. And can you take us through that process of, how it went with the agent and Farhan and you? And did you know that Farhan had not signed anybody to a 3-year deal?
I didn't know. And I wasn't all that involved in that process. I think a lot of that stuff is kind of, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you look on it, above my pay grade. But, it came down to, for me, I wanted to be somewhere where I could be a part of it for more than just the 2 years. I think the opportunity to get to know people and collaborate on something for more than just a 1 or 2 year period was really important. And the fact that it happened to be in San Francisco and everything that I had heard about the organization and the people who were a part of it, it was just, it was too good to pass up. And I'm very relieved that we were able to make it happen.
Nice. Well, I think everybody here your signing was greeted with a lot of positive reaction from people who know baseball, and that is because you're that rare. It's not about home runs and strikeouts for you. It's about playing the game, right? You'll play any position. You'll grind out at bats. Your reputation is as a really tough competitor. I mean, it's all the stuff you love in a ball player. I mean, I got to imagine, is this kind of defined you your entire baseball career, that you're a grinder and you'll play anywhere and you'll do what it takes?
I think so. Yeah, I was, certainly not 6'2", hitting 45 home runs a year. So you kind of got to find a way to stick. And I think early on, bat control, controlling the strike zone, and, driving the ball when there's an opportunity, was one of the things that kept me around, and ultimately the ability to be consistent with that was something that I think was appealing to talent evaluators and scouts and things like that. So over the years, as a player, you watch guys who, they hit 35, 40, whatever it is. And, you're sitting there going like, man, I got to be doing that. I got to do this. So there is that little internal struggle that goes on of sticking to your game, sticking to what you do well, and maximizing that versus trying to copy what other guys do well. And, so I've done that battle, and hopefully I feel like I've arrived at a point in myself where I understand my game. I understand what I do well. And, not that there's not an opportunity to take a shot and run a guy out of the yard, but for me, I think it comes down to consistency of quality of that.
Tommy LaStella, the voice you hear, Giants' new utility man, infielder, and or did I pigeonhole you? Could you grab an outfielder glove if you had to?
Sure, why not?
Love it.
I'll go for it.
This is so cool.
If somebody asks you what position you play,
the first 3-year contract is a guy you could.
I guess over the last couple of years, it's been primarily second base. So I'd say second base. I was drafted as a second baseman, so I'd say I have more experience there than a third or first. But actually, with the Cubs, I'd say I probably played more third base. So.
But you're coming to the club with. Do you have a different glove for third and second?
I do. Yeah, the one at third is a little bit bigger. The one at second is a little smaller for the turn.
So you come every day with 3. You got your first baseman's mitt, you got your second baseman's glove, and your third baseman's glove, right?
Yep. Yeah,
all right. Have glove will travel, right? Now, you mentioned that you weren't 6'2", 250 and weren't swinging for the fences, and yet, Tommy, you hit 16 bombs in 2019. What a number. How'd that come about, and is that now an increasing part of your game?
Yeah, I never had a problem driving the ball. My entire career, I've always hit home runs. I've always driven the ball. So I think I kind of lost the feel for it in Chicago. We had so many great young players who needed the rest, who needed to be out on the field, and I kind of just slotted into this role of coming off the bench and pinch hitting. And as you can imagine, pinch hitting doesn't really lend itself to driving the ball. You're usually facing the guy in 7th, 8th, or 9th inning. Got power stuff, and you're basically just trying to put together a quality at bat, take your base hit, take your walk, whatever it yields. But I think in that process, I did lose a little bit of driving the ball pull side. And when I went to the Angels, I got traded over there after 2018 and got an opportunity to be back in the lineup for 4 or 5 at-bats a night. I started to remember how I used to approach a game in 4 or 5 at-bats and taking some opportunities to pull the ball and get the ball in the air pull side.
So that's where that
Well, great
shortened
stuff. Sounds like
field
you
can
continue
help
to
him
evolve.
actually.
And another part of your career, Tommy,
The
I'm going
home run you
to
heard
sit
him
with
hit.
you here, is that you have extensive postseason experience. You played 2015, 2016, the World Series with the Cubs, obviously, but 2017, 2018, last year with the A's. I'm wondering, you come to this clubhouse.
Nice.
This is a team that's missed the playoffs now the last few years. Is this something you think you bring a little? I mean, obviously Buster, Brandon Belt, Brandon Crawford, they've done it, but is this something you're going to bring to the youngsters? And like, hey man, I know what it takes to get to October. This is the way.
Yeah.
Sure, I hope so. I mean, but what you just said is, there's guys who have been here before and who have won multiple championships who, can obviously pass that along as well. And, this is a great organization. I forget what the number is. It's like 3 in the last 10 or 11 years they've won. I don't know that any other organization can make that claim. So this is a postseason organization. And, we like the group that we've got going forward, and I'm sure we'll be there.
Hey, Tommy, before I let you go, I got to tell you, so, the Murph&Mac show, we do the morning show, but me, Brian Murphy, my other day job is I'm the co-chair of the Giants Community Fund, which is the junior Giants arm. And you can't imagine how happy you made us with your contract where you are donating to the Giants Community Fund every year. So I want to make a very public thank you to you and tell you how happy everybody in the organization was. Nice. And hopefully you're leading the way, and just wanted to give you a chance to kind of, remark on why you were so kind and generous to include that in your deal.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, the organization brought it to me, and I knew right away it was something I wanted to be a part of. I don't know as much about, where the funds are going to be delegated and all the things that we're going to get into, but I'm very excited and looking forward to learning about it and being a part of that process. It's going to be great.
Wow. We thank you very much. And then, Paulie,
Absolutely.
You want to leave them with some Bay Area recommendations? Dude,
Well,
I don't know.
Yeah, what, pizza? What? Sure. Like, listen, first off, when we get 7 p.m. this evening, we'll talk
These
further,
guys,
but like,
dude,
just know,
it's really maddening.
right near the stadium, go grab yourself an Amici's, right? I got to do the right thing here, Murph, and make sure we prop up Amici's pizza.
So yeah, Tommy LaStella is the first 3-year contract that has been given out by Farhan Zaidi. So, a lot of people have been very impatient, but the way we've talked about it at Giants Baseball Corner, if you take a look at the blog, is that he had to steward out the Bruce Bochy era, and he let those guys hang around. COVID struck. He's had a methodology to this.
Discipline to the plate, and we'll look forward to watching you play some hard-nosed ball this year, man. We appreciate you coming on.
Good talking to you, man.
The Murph&Mac show.
Absolutely.
Have a good spring, okay?
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
There he is, Paulie. Hey, cool. Guys from Jersey are cool.
A new Jersey bond has been forged, and you're part of it now, bro. You're in the Jersey Triangle. You've heard of the Bermuda Triangle. This is the Jersey.
Okay, so I'm going to cut Murph&Mac off a little bit to talk about how a utility man is the first 3-year contract is the most Farhan Zaidi thing in the universe, right? Like, we've all been champing at the bit. Oh, get Trevor, but like, we don't know. We're just barking out because we want to be good. The big names. Farhan is in the mix on Bryce Harper, right? Farhan is in the mix on, huge names, but he doesn't pull the trigger. He doesn't pull the trigger, or it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. And so this rumbling about whether or not Farhan is legitimately doing the big thing he's supposed to be doing, transforming it into a championship organization, has been going on. But I think I see instead something else. I see an incredibly methodological guy. And what he showed us in the regular full season, not the irregular season of last year, but the regular full season, is he makes these moves for lots of players, and then he'll toss them out. By May, 7, 8, 9 of the guys can be gone. So finding who the team is to him seems to matter more after the All-Star break. That takes some getting used to, but it's part of the larger sabermetric, change-oriented system that relies on math. So all of it is something new to me, and that's how I'll be covering it at Giants Baseball Corner.
California can protect your home.
Man, I'm not sure who's next, but we've gone 2 hours 45. I'm going to call it. This has been the Giants Baseball. Thank you, viewer. This has been the Giants Baseball Corner Fanfest Edition, and I hope you enjoyed hearing from many of the new players and coaches and management of the San Francisco Giants who are